Okay, and we are live. Welcome to an episode of All Things Xbox Podcast. Once again, I got Logan with me. Logan, how you doing this week?
Doing pretty good. It's been an eventful week, I'd say. How about you?
Yeah, I'm good. It's been a good week. We have lots of gaming news. Honestly, it's actually been a really good week for gaming news because we just had Gamescom. It's still going on at the minute, and honestly, I think that if people are looking forward to new games to play, the next couple of months, even the next year, is going to be absolutely wild. Obviously, we're going to go over every game that was shown at Gamescom that are also come to Xbox. Now, by the way, for people listening live, just let me know in the comments down below or the live chat. Let me know if anything audio or visual wise is happening because YouTube's been having a lot of issues in the UK and we don't really know what's going on. Could just be their end with a bunch of stuff going on. Plus the big GTA thing, so everyone's logging in online and well, everyone's looking for content about GTA. So things might get a bit hectic, but as long as you can hear me and Logan, all is good. I should have gameplay going on at the minute, but again, YouTube is messing up a bit. Anyway, it's been a long week. Logan, what have you been playing?
Well, I've been playing a bunch of different stuff. I wrapped up the Quake 30th anniversary expansion and
Nice.
man, that was beefy. It had like 19 missions and they added like 3 new enemy types and a new weapon, and the final boss was a real pain in the rear. But it was a lot of fun. Been playing that. Was about to start this game. I think it's called the Rest Stop or the Last Rest. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's one of those Telltale style games that had been in Game Pass for a while but left. I bought it on sale ages ago, and I've just kind of been in the mood for that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's about to start that. And playing the bonus missions of Halo campaign evolved. Uh, I'm enjoying them for the most part. I have some quibbles here and there, but for the most part, I'm enjoying it. And let's see, Balatro and Power Wash, of course, and that's been what's on my plate at the moment. How about you?
I mean, game wise, it's been extremely busy because the thing about me is I'm extremely indecisive, and when it comes to like what I'm playing, I always try to keep one RPG going on at any given time, and just one. And I tend to go overboard. Sometimes I'll do two or three at the same time. But this past week, I'm not gonna lie, I've been reinstalling basically every big AAA RPG I have for some reason because I'm crazy. Re-downloaded Cyberpunk, even though I really shouldn't with every game that's coming out. Re-downloaded The Witcher 3, and that game, by the way, my god. The Witcher 3. So basically, I have not played The Witcher 3 properly since the next gen upgrade came out in 2022. And let me tell you, I was blown away because it got its 4K patch when the Xbox One X came out, um, and that was beautiful. I think it also did 60 at some point as well, and it was a gorgeous game. It was already a gorgeous game. Um, but then when it got its proper like Xbox Series enhancement, I never really played it. I just saw the trailers, I covered it, and I never actually got to play it. And I was just blown away when I loaded it up. So there's a new camera now. I'm saying new, but it came out in 2022. But there's a new camera where basically you can have the camera basically behind Geralt's shoulder, like most traditional third-person games, and it's great. It's great. You can have the camera up close, you can have it far back, you can basically choose whatever you want. There's a bunch of different settings. There's also cross save now, which that wasn't a thing before. There's also mods on console. But yeah, The Witcher 3 on console is crazy. And we're going to be talking about The Witcher 3 in a bit. But I've also been playing Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, obviously. I'm on chapter 12. Oh, by the way, before I get into the rest of what I've been playing, so when the show started, I was talking about how the live stream might be a bit weird because YouTube's having problems in the UK. I'm not entirely sure about the US. So if you can see gameplay on the screen right now, and if you can actually hear us, just let me know in the chat, because something's going on my screen, and I can't tell what's going on. But yeah, I've been playing Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I'm on Chapter 12. There's a card game in the game called Queen's Blood, and honestly, I think there's 29 games you have to play. And by the way, it's completely optional. So, like, for people that are thinking about getting into Rebirth and maybe put off by card games or mini games, don't worry, it's completely optional. But I played through these card games, and for people that don't know me, I'm terrible at card games. Awful. People have tried to teach me poker multiple times. It just doesn't work. You know, people have tried to teach me different. I love The Witcher, and people have tried to teach me Gwent. I've read the tutorial for Gwent probably about 50 times. Just for some reason, my brain cannot work with card games. It's kind of funny that way. But anyway, this game, Queen's Blood and Rebirth, I got hooked on it. And, you know, you go through different enemies. The matches get harder and harder. The enemies you fight can be so annoying. So I'm struggling with these card battles. And I'm like, I want to get the final card in the game. I want to beat all these people. So anyway, after many hours, I finally beat all 29 Queen's Blood. We'll call them champions. And my God, that was a cool cutscene I got. And the thing is that's probably a side mission in the game most people won't do. It was a rare achievement, or at least it will be a rare achievement when I get everything done. But my God, I absolutely loved that game. And again, I'm pushing on with Chapter 12. By the way, there's a point in the game where you can kind of romance a character. Basically, all your choices throughout the game can lead to a date, right? And I've seen people make memes about this for the past couple of years since it came out. And I was thinking, right, I'm getting the Tifa date. No matter what, I'm getting the date with Tifa. And because apparently you can go on a date with Barrett, and it's just like you're hanging out with them, or like Red 13, and you're just hanging out. So I was thinking, like, I've had Tifa in my party for the entire playthrough, right? So, you know, made every correct decision. She's in my party. I'm using her a lot. She has a great combat style. And I get the date with Yuffie. I was like,
no, we have to go back.
Yeah, the one person I didn't expect to end up on a date with was Yuffie, who actually has the best play style in the game, in my opinion. But I just burst out laughing because I thought, you know, maybe the next playthrough. And all that stuff's on YouTube anyway. But yeah, it's been a great game, man. You know, I've obviously enjoyed every second of it. It's crazy how good that game is. The combat is good. The cutscenes are good. You know, I'm 80. Here's the thing, right? I'm 85 hours into Rebirth, and I'm not bored. I'm not burnt out. I'm enjoying it.
That's a great sign.
Yeah, it's a great sign. And you know, most people, when they play that game, they aren't going to put 80 plus hours into it, or 100 hours. They're probably just going to do the main story and some side quests. And I think that's the good thing about that game. It's got good design, you know. The side content is optional, and you know, I think a lot of people like it that way. And the other game I've been playing is Modern Warfare 4 beta. Let me tell you, that game surprised me. Now, Logan, you didn't play the beta, correct?
No, I have not played the beta.
Right. So, basically, the beta came with multiplayer, which was PvP, and it had, I believe, 4 maps, and they put an extra map in over each day, and they put in a campaign mission for the first time. Let me tell you, I love Call of Duty campaigns, but the problem with Modern Warfare 7, Black Ops 7 was they kind of messed it up. It wasn't a great campaign. It wasn't that fun. They put spongy enemies in the game. You couldn't pause the campaign. You know, it kind of wanted you to force to play with other players, even though you could play solo. It had a bunch of problems. I'm happy to say traditional first-person shooter linear-style campaigns are back. Modern Warfare 4 is bloody good. Now, this is the first quote-unquote next-gen only Modern Warfare game, and you can tell when you play it. My God, it is beautiful. The smoke effects, the fire, the explosions in the game. There's a part in the mission where you drive a tank, and you're shooting these oil tankers, and I've never seen an explosion in a game like it. It's crazy. So I was happy to see that. You know, the voice acting's good, the cutscenes are good. Honestly, it's very hardcore first-person shooter combat for a campaign, because I felt like I was like constantly getting hit, which is you kind of want that in a military FPS that's kind of realistic. So yeah, that campaign's going to be really good. I also played the multiplayer. Now, I pride myself on mainly being a single-player dude. Let me tell you, the multiplayer is fun. They've really changed how time to kill works. The guns are way better than Black Ops 7. Then again, anything is. I think a water pistol is better than anything in Black Ops 7. And yeah, the multiplayer is good. They've reinvented a lot of stuff. The movement's changed from Black Ops, which it's going to take some getting used to, because Omni movement in the previous titles were just so good. But I'm happy to say that I think they've nailed it. Black Ops 6 was great. It had its problems, but it was great. Black Ops 7, in my opinion, is the worst Call of Duty in a very long time. Very long time. I'm happy to say Modern Warfare 4 is back. And it's great. Absolutely great. Like, Logan, it's not in Game Pass this year, and considering you are mainly a single-player person, are you looking forward to playing Modern Warfare at all?
Yeah, I'll play it for the campaign.
Yeah. It is good, though. It is single-player only, from what I could tell, which I'm perfectly fine with. If I'm playing a gritty, hardcore first-person shooter, I do want to play a solo. Maybe I'm unsociable, but I just like playing those games single-player. But yeah, that's what I've been playing. Oh, and I've also been playing a sci-fi game, which I used to talk about all the time, called Hard Space Shipbreaker. That game is addictive. My God, if people haven't played it, basically all you do in that game is literally you dismantle starships. That's all you do. And it's shockingly addictive. I think it might be Play Anywhere, I'll have to check, but it's really good. It's basically on every device other than the Switch at this point. But yeah, all you do is dismantle spaceships. There is a story mode as well. The story is actually pretty cool. And it's on sale a lot, so if you're looking for something different, I highly recommend that to people. It's really cool because ships actually have mass, and when you dismantle them, that mass goes down. But yeah, maybe I'm nerding out a bit because I love sci-fi. And by the way, we're putting a new segment in the show, and this is Dumb Tweets of the Week, or Dumb Replies of the Week. I do plan on featuring some dumb tweets in some videos in the future, but I had possibly one of the dumbest replies I've ever had in my entire life today. And I actually burst out laughing. And this was on YouTube. So, Logan, this will be the first time you're hearing this, and everyone in chat, please enjoy. So, I put out a video 3 years ago titled The 20 Best Sci-Fi Games on Xbox. And, there's a range of titles in there, from a bunch of Star Wars games, Half-Life, Fallout, stuff like that. And anyway, it's my longest video on the channel, kind of. It's like 42 minutes long. And, it's, what do you guess? The 20 best sci-fi games on the platform. Well, anyway, I got this reply to this 3-year-old video. And this person said, this guy obviously hasn't a clue on what he's talking about, as that the Fallout games are not sci-fi games. Now, that person might be listening, and I just want to say, yeah, there's these normies out there that they think that sci-fi just means space. And it annoys them.
Yeah, sci-fi has a large breadth of scope. Like, Star Wars is science fantasy, and then Star Trek is like hardcore sci-fi. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you have, steampunk, that's sci-fi, cyberpunk is sci-fi. Literally, you could take basically anything and think, oh, it is sci-fi. Grand Theft Auto on some level is sci-fi, especially when they start putting hover bikes in it, But the fact I got that reply, I just burst out laughing, because I have noticed this over the past year or two, that when I've referred to cyberpunk as sci-fi, I get the same reply. And yeah, normies. They don't know what they're talking about. So me, who talks about science fiction all the time on the channel, on social media, I just burst out laughing because I've had dumb replies in my, on here, on Twitter, especially Twitter. And yeah, that is the dumbest reply I've ever had. So I just want to say thank you to that person for making me laugh, because my God, I needed that. Anyway, we have a lot to talk about because we had Gamescom. There's over 50 games that were shown at Gamescom that are coming to Xbox. And by the way, Gamescom opening night live. Not gonna lie, I do give Jeff Keighley a bad time. He put on a good show. You know, there was next to no marketing. There was no puppets or muppets. There's no outlandish stuff like I think last year at the Game Awards there was a thing called Dude Wipes. I don't even want to know what those are, but my point is he put on a good show and it was less corporate than the Game Awards, which I actually really liked. So Jeff Keighley did put on a good show. By the way, Logan, did you watch it this year?
I did not. To be completely honest, I just caught the recap of that and Gamescom because there was just so much that was like titles that were already revealed and it was just updates. Like if there was like teases that there was going to be something new or a big surprise, I would have tuned in, but I figured I could just catch it on the flip side.
Okay. Well, yeah, no, it was a very good show, and I think there was something for everyone. You've got everything from racing games to JRPGs, hardcore first-person shooters, tactical-based games. By the way, there was a lot of tactical-based games there, but that's kind of what you do in Europe, But it was a really good show. Now, before we get into that, we've got a bunch of smaller topics which we'll quickly go over. And, by the way, we've been like a week and a half since the last show. Logan couldn't do Tuesday, and honestly, I wasn't really feeling that well. So, if you're enjoying the show, excuse me, please share it out. The algorithm doesn't exactly help us when we have podcasts on different days, and obviously people don't get the notification when they're used to, the podcast going live on a Tuesday. So sharing it out really does appreciate, or I do appreciate it, and liking the show actually helps with the algorithm. And I hate doing these little ads, but you know what? It does help with the algorithm. And if you want to support the channel with Super Chats, it's all greatly appreciated. Anyway, so we'll get these smaller stories out the way quickly. So Stellar Blade's going to be a Tokyo Game Show. Tokyo Game Show this year is going to be pretty big, especially with all the Final Fantasy stuff that's going to be there. But Stellar Blade's going to be there. Now, they said they have some stuff to show off, and the question is there. Will the Xbox version of Stellar Blade be a Tokyo Game Show? And, someone might clip this or take my tweets apart from when I've said this the other day. I 100% believe that Stellar Blade will come to Xbox the same day the Switch version comes out. This was the same way Final Fantasy VII was revealed for Switch. It was announced for Switch in, I believe, May last year, and then it was announced for Xbox in June. So I personally think it is coming. It's just they can't talk about it yet due to some weird marketing thing that they have with the Nintendo Switch 2. But Tokyo Game Show last year had a lot of big Xbox reveals. Lots of JRPGs coming to Xbox now. But that's just my take on it. Logan, what do you think? Because basically underneath every single Stellar Blade post, I see you there. I see a lot of other people from the Xbox community asking the question, like, where's the Xbox version? And, they have acknowledged it. Most of the time when people port beg like we do, and that's what it is at the end of the day, let's be honest, but, like, it's rare for developers to actually acknowledge that a game isn't coming to the platform. So the fact that they said, it's going to take time, that leads me to believe that the game is coming. They just can't talk about it yet.
Yeah, for me, I would say that I would expect it at the Tokyo Game Show. And if it isn't there, then I would strongly encourage the community to politely but firmly continue to badger them.
Yep.
Because it would be ridiculous at this point if it's not on the platform.
Yep. And it does work, like
it does. That's how we got Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, and I pride myself on this. I've told this story before, but I'll mention it again. But, like, we got Kingdom Hearts 3 on Xbox, and it's a great version, by the way, absolutely great. Look, by the way, Logan, did you ever play Kingdom Hearts 3?
No, I have not played the third. I've played the first one. So.
Right, the third. I'm going to gush over this because people are going to find out something about me right now, and I don't care. I absolutely love Tangled.
Hey, that's a great movie.
Right.
Don't let anybody hold your head down on that. That's a good movie.
I don't care what anyone says. I love Tangled. It's a great story, great animation, great characters. I love that film. I think Frozen is a steaming bag of you know what, but Tangled is great, and that has a Tangled level that's basically like the movie. So I was like, oh my god, this is the best thing ever. By the way, I still think they should put Star Wars in Kingdom Hearts at some point. That would just make sense.
Dude, could you imagine Vader and Sephiroth duel?
Oh my god, that would be amazing. The thing is, it's right there for them to do. Right, they've got a
And like to have Imperial March like mixed with one winged angel or something
yeah.
like insane you couldn't even think of. Oh, it'd be sick.
I mean, fighting Sephiroth on a Star Destroyer would be peak.
Yes, it would be.
But like they have the relationship there. There's an animated show coming out on Disney, I think next year or some point in the future. So like me, I'm happy. More Kingdom Hearts is coming. We're obviously going to see some more Kingdom Hearts announcements as the year goes on because I think it's like one of the anniversaries. But yeah, we got Kingdom Hearts 3 on Xbox before any other version, any other port, and like to me, I thought like Kingdom Hearts is known to have an extremely complicated story, and like you need an encyclopedia as thick as a phone book, right, to barely just grasp the some parts of the story. Well, anyway, we finally got the HD collection. I think it was very early 2020 or late 2019, and from what I know, they put that on Xbox just because people on Twitter were asking for it. People were doing fan art, people were asking daily, and it would be such an easy game to port over, and I clearly know that because I'm apparently a game developer. Not really, but it seemed like an easy job. Well, anyway, that's how it happened. But yeah, people just need to ask for stuff. These developers, they do pay attention, and a lot of these developers, they are on social media a lot. So like these games will come. Just ask politely. Hell, we got.
Yeah, I get a lot more responses. Like polite responses generally get a good response back. Like I port back a bunch of horror games and like Japanese games and did just random indies that I'm like, huh, that looks kind of cool and different. And like I just go, hey, would you any console plans or hey, this looks sick, man. What are you making? Like any plans for Xbox or whatever. And then, even if they say no or something, you go, okay, well, I hope it comes to the platform at some point. Good luck with development or something. And, they might circle back to you.
Yeah. I think it's a tonal thing because I see people, they get really angry on social media and they demand where's the Xbox version. But like I'll use Dispatch as an example. When the Switch version was announced, my feed was filled with angry Xbox dudes, understandably. But they were wondering like, where's the Xbox version? And the truth is that studio almost went bankrupt. They had no idea their game was going to be a success. They could only afford to port their game to one console at the time. And to me, it's like, yeah, it's annoying, but it is what it is. It's like,
oh, it was well worth the wait. That game's incredible.
Yeah, and people love it. As far as I know, it's done well on Xbox. It was number one on the store in the UK. Like, so people received it well. It's just that some people were really angry. It's like, look, these developers, let me tell you, the second you get angry at them and start like bothering them, they just mute you or block you. If you're polite and reasonable, and I get some people might want to just pop off on social media. like, let's take me for instance, right? I talk about Splinter Cell all the time. The remake was announced 5 years ago. I still haven't got it, and as a Splinter Cell fan, I'm annoyed, but I make fun of the situation. I make memes about it. The truth is, if Splinter Cell comes at some point, I'll be happy. Until then, it is what it is, And there's nothing I can do to change that. There's nothing anyone can do to change that. And, getting angry at someone on social media is not really going to do anything because these people, they're just making the games, And a lot of these smaller companies, you have, like, actual developers doing the social media. So it's like, it's out of their hands, But if you're polite, they'll be like, you know what, I'll pass this along. And it works. It really does work. And hell, look, the Death Stranding port was once thought to be an impossible thing at one point. You have the Decima engine. That's a PlayStation thing. You have Death Stranding at the time, where most people thought it was owned by PlayStation, but it's actually owned by Kojima now. And do you know what happened when that game came out to Xbox? People loved it. It was number one on the Xbox store in the UK. I think it was also number one across a bunch of Europe as well. So like, just be patient. Request stuff. It's all good. And I get the temptation is there, to pop off and be annoyed. But at the end of the day, it's just video games. Now, this week, we have a lot of good topics, a lot of positive topics, and honestly, there's not really any bad news this week. Normally, we have some studio closures, game being cancelled. None of that this week. It's all good. So, we'll get this out of the way, and normally in the UK, Xbox brand deals don't really exist. So in the US, you'll have Xbox, doing things with like Fanta or Mountain Dew, where you get these codes and stuff. In the UK, it's not really a thing. The UK was a huge market for Xbox during the 360. It looks like they're trying again, which is great. Because under Asher Sharma, they clearly put in a lot of money into marketing. So there's this huge marketing campaign in the UK for McDonald's at the minute, where you can get a bunch of skins for different games and stuff such as Diablo and Halo Campaign Evolved. You just go there, and I think the chicken nuggets are like Diablo themed. I think it's like black pepper chicken or something. But basically, the trailer for this marketing deal thing, collaboration we'll call it, is like CGI. It has like full on like life size. Oh my god, what do you call it? Like Brotherhood of Steel armor dudes, right? You have Master Chief armor, so it's like they put in a lot of money into marketing, and in the UK, we have Logan. We haven't seen this in the UK since maybe like 2012.
Like, that's crazy, man.
Yeah.
Like the McDonald's ad for Halo and all the other guys was incredible. Like, I saw some people like partly jokingly but also partly seriously saying it was better than the Halo campaign Evolved cutscenes and like getting push. And it was really well done. It was awesome. You could tell there was like hidden Easter eggs in there, fun stuff. Whoever made it clearly enjoyed and knew the game material.
Oh yeah.
Frankly, I wish it was coming to the US as well. Because, I love McDonald's and I love Halo, but I'm not flying across the pond just to get a Big Mac, So it's fun, and I hope they bring more of that energy because I love what I'm seeing.
Yeah. Because when it was first announced, I just thought, oh, it's another American brand deal. And then, it's just the UK. Unfortunately for me, I don't eat processed food. So, like, the temptation's there. So I might just break my rule. But I might see if I can get some at some point. And another thing, and this surprised me even more, is that the IKEA thing. So they have a deal with IKEA where they have an Xbox sort of themed furniture and goods, and basically, normally I don't like the look of like quote unquote gamer gear that looks super gamery. If that makes sense, I'm doing air quotes and no one can see me. Normally that stuff kind of puts me off, but like this stuff actually looks.
So you don't like the Hot Topic clothing type stuff?
No. Oh, then again, I did see a Sephiroth shirt. That looked pretty cool. I ain't shocker. It's Final Fantasy and I like it, but they showed off all the new IKEA stuff, and as someone that likes IKEA, let me tell you, I'm very happy with what I saw. So you get the stools that look like analog sticks, which actually look pretty cool. There's a Xbox D-pad lap cushion, which looks cool. It's like dark green, light green, or whatever. There's also a chair where it has a nest underneath for your controllers. There's an end table where it has a place to store your controllers, and I basically walked away from that thinking, am I going to go to IKEA soon again? Because it was very minimalistic. Loved the look of that stuff. And, IKEA gets a bad rap. I don't know if it's the same in the US, Logan, but like in the UK, like there's IKEAs all over the place. Everyone loves IKEA. But like there's a bad rap for their furniture, like being cheaply made because it's mass-produced. But at the end of the day, if you're furnishing a new house, IKEA is where you go.
Hey, I got a bunch of IKEA stuff to like store my movies and games and statues. It works and it's efficient, so I'm all for IKEA.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of this stuff, if you saw it, like We have a place in the UK called DFS where you buy furniture, right? If you were to buy a lot of this stuff there, it would be like, 200, 300, 400 pounds. But like when I see this end table, and yes, it's a gaming podcast and we talk about end tables, but this end table, I thought, well, it's on casters, it's on wheels, it's got a place for your controllers. This thing's gonna cost probably 40 pounds, right? Make it together yourself with an overly complex, guide, and you always have like one spare screw. But anyway, it all looks good. I'm just happy that Xbox is making some moves in the UK again, because again, we haven't seen anything since like 2012. I would have said 2013, where they had a huge launch in London for the Xbox One, but that went pretty bad for people that live in the
Hey,
UK.
2013 is hot again, didn't you hear?
Yeah, we're going to be talking about that in a bit. By the way, how funny has it been for the past couple of days where people are like, you know what, that Xbox One idea is actually really good.
I know, it's like instead of Spider-Man costume, you have a Don Matrick costume on the wall at
Yeah.
the Daily Bugle. And he's like, I was too hard on him. He was a real good guy.
It's crazy. Do you know, before we get into like the rest of the topics, and we'll talk about that stuff later, like my first proper video on YouTube wasn't even on this channel. I had a different channel where I was going to actually post like movie related reviews. And it was me on camera. I've told you this, Logan. But it was me on camera talking about why I wanted an Xbox One, right? And I said, like, I like the idea of, like, being able to put in a disc and then just play the game whenever you want without putting the disc back in. I thought it was a novel idea because I prefer physical, but the benefits of digital is really cool. And this video was up for maybe 2 hours, and I think it got 10,000 views. And it was off a channel I just made, right, back in 2013. And the replies, my God, were awful. Like, this was
they drug you through the streets, did they?
yeah, this was before I was like, I sort of like trained myself to deal with this stuff, because it's just nothing. But at the time, I was like, oh my God, this hate's terrible. So I deleted the channel. But like looking back, like people like, you know what, that was actually a cool idea, because maybe I want to have the disc and have the digital license. That's really cool. Again, we'll talk about all that stuff. Now, let's see what we got next, because again, we still have like 13 topics. You know what? Actually, we'll talk about the Halo stuff first. Logan, you want to talk about Halo because there's been some movements in Halo, and it looks like Halo might be looking good.
Yeah, Halo has been divided. It's the
Just a bit.
nicest way to put it. The reception to the game, the fan base, the leadership, the studio, like anything and everything Halo has been a giant cluster club, basically, for quite some time. And there have been some real high highs, and there have been some, like, Mariana Trench lows. And so basically, a whole bunch of stuff has come to a head recently. And it seems like there is a strong desire to right the ship, I'd say, and to really, really focus in and fix this. Because Halo is, like others have said out there, like Halo, I would say, is one of the three biggest things Asha single-handedly must deal with.
Yeah.
Like, and as in priorities of like get the business and overall healthy, consoles and Halo, I would say, are probably like the three biggest ones. I might be missing some. There are other big issues they obviously got to deal with, but Halo is in at least in the top 5 biggest things they got to fix. And there's recently been OGs from Bungie, original developers, on the Halo series, like Mark Sleto, Jeff Stratton, others that have come out or Joseph Staten, sorry, and who have come out and talked about hypothetically revisiting the franchise. Like, if I had a chance to do it again, this is what I would do or I would have done. Or, like, here's what I would like to see going forward if I had a chance. And, like, basically, I wouldn't say they're officially fishing for a gig, but I wouldn't say they're not saddened by the idea of getting a gig,
Yeah.
Um, so it would be cool if they could if Xbox would bring them back. You know, I know there are some people who are saying let the past die, kill it if you have to, whatever, move on. It's a sinking ship, the Titanic, you can't save it. They've poured money, yada yada. To me, I'm stubborn as a mule. I'm like, if I care about something, I'm gonna see this thing through. And I the fan base is massive. They're passionate. If an honest to goodness good Halo game can be made, the people will show up in mass. And it seems like Xbox realizes this, and I would expect that some, Jez Corden and others have teased online that some significant changes to how Halo was run and operated would be you know, anticipated probably. So fingers crossed, but I'm optimistic for the future, whatever it holds for however they change things. But the bottom line is something has to change, and I think they finally, after a change of the guard, realize that there are some things that have to be done that maybe the previous administration wouldn't do, just to put it that way.
Yeah. Uh, I think that, so basically, I've been playing through Halo Campaign Evolved with one of my friends that's never played Combat Evolved before, and he's really enjoying it. And we were talking about it, and he said, like, why can't they just do more of this, right? Uh, and I know it sounds like easier said than done, but like Halo, like it's not really a super complex game, right? It's a fun first-person shooter with different set pieces, and uh, uh let's be honest, a kind of basic sci-fi story, and there's nothing wrong with that. I love Halo. Like, why can't they just do more of that? More stories, insert new characters, new places, and I think with Halo 5, they were trying some things new, but like the mixed messaging on the marketing on that game was all over the place. They did an audio series called Hunt the Truth that was incredible. And then when the game came out, the plot was nothing like that. The trailers were nothing like that. And apparently,
Yeah, never fake out your fan base. That is a franchise kill your franchise 101.
yeah, and like a lot of people at the time, like, oh my god, this Hunt the Truth thing. Everyone was looking forward to each new episode every week, and then when the game came out, the plot wasn't anywhere near that. But when Halo 5 came out, I enjoyed it. The opening is excellent. But with Halo Infinite, you can tell they were trying to pay attention to Halo fans. They were going to give them the classic feel. They even brought back the older style suit, which, in my opinion, I preferred the Halo 4 suit. And the story went kind of weird places, but it had this Combat Evolved feel to it. It was meant to have this nostalgic feel to it. And I felt like 343 or now Halo Studios, they've never really been able to make the game they really wanted to make. They've always kind of played it safe. And I say this as someone that I enjoyed Halo 5. I loved Halo Infinite. So like I think Halo Campaign Evolved, people like it. I mean it's Combat Evolved, what's not to like? But like they clearly need to gut that studio. They clearly do. If you can't put out a new Halo game in that many years. Like, by the way, Joseph Staten last night posted it on Twitter that he had this idea like 15, 16 years ago that, Halo 3 would have continued to get, like, spin-offs as expansions, which we'll be talking about Witcher in a bit. But, like, he said that, Halo 3, then you have Halo 3 ODST, which was a spin-off set in the same timeline. And then you have Halo Reach, which was a prequel. But they all came out around about the same couple of years. Like, he had this idea that what if they kept on building Halo like that? And honestly, thinking about the trajectory of all these studios and how long it takes to make games, honestly, I think that would have been a great move at the time. What's that site? Hindsight's 2020 or something like that.
Hey, I mean, the door. Someone should open the door if it's not open, and we can revisit that
Yeah,
now.
yeah, and I have seen the topic brought up that should they reboot Halo? I think that would be a huge step backwards. Because I used to be for a Halo reboot, but like, what are we getting with a Halo reboot? We're going to get Halo Combat Evolved again, where they land on the ring, they discover the Flood. Halo 2, where they take the fight back to Earth. It's like, I personally feel like they have to progress with the story, because like Halo Infinite was left on a bit of a cliffhanger. The whole stuff with Atriox went nowhere, whereas he's like possibly the best antagonist in Halo ever. And he's from Halo Wars 2. So, like, to me, like, they have an opportunity to, like, just make... They really have... This sounds a bit weird, but they have to make Halo Infinite 2, but just make a game that they want to make, Don't worry about the purists that's going to cry about every gameplay mechanic. Like, look at Combat Evolved, or Campaign Evolves. That's going to destroy me. Look at Campaign Evolves, right? It's a 1-to-1 remake. All they've added really is sprint and a couple of different weapons, right? And people are complaining about it, right? It's not Halo, and those people are always going to be there. So, like, unless they move forward and make what they want to make, Halo's never going to evolve. Pun intended.
Yeah, I'd rather have a quote non-Halo Halo game than not having anything. Period.
Yeah, exactly.
Just saying.
And, and by the way, the universe is right there for the taking. They can do spin-offs. They could do more RTS games. I do want a Halo Wars 3 with space combat.
Same.
And, my dream has always been, it'll be like Homeworld 2, but Halo. My God. And Halo.
What if they did like a Rogue Squadron type game with those ships from Reach?
I'd be up for that. I love Rogue Squadron. I love the Halo Reach Saber mission. It's probably the best mission in the game. But yeah, I'd be up for that. Just any spin-off, change genres, do RPGs, hell, do a Halo City builder on a ring. I don't care. Just do something. They like look at
a Flood Resident Evil style game. Like, I think it can happen. Imagine being a colonist and these parasites overrun the planet. Or something.
Yeah, I mean, remember everyone was baited by that on
yeah.
It was like prior to E3 2016, I think. Halo Gravemind, new horror game, wasn't real, and this was before AI. So like someone photoshopped this. It looked really good, and it's right there. There was the Halo Mega Bloks thing, right? Which I still want. But they have so much they can do with the Halo universe. And, there's so much doom and gloom around it. But the truth is, it's a great sci-fi universe. There's a lot of talented developers out there. And there has been the conversation that should Activision make a game with it? And, again, my friend that I play Call of Duty with, he said something I never thought he'd say. He said, what if they actually rotated Halo and COD? That never occurred to me. Because people have joked like, we don't want a Halo game every year. But imagine this. Let's say next year you get Halo, insert random name. Then you get a Call of Duty game the year after. And then maybe you get, I don't know, Black Ops 7 or something. Or Black Ops 8. And then you get a Halo game. And then they do the rotation thing. Because if you think about it, a Halo game consists of a campaign, a PvP multiplayer, and maybe some sort of map-making tool. Well, Raven Software do a lot of the campaign for Infinity Ward, and Infinity Ward know how to do big set pieces and stuff. So like, imagine if Infinity Ward and Raven Software made a Halo game. I think that would work.
They would make awesome. I mean, like Raven in particular did the old Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy games, Singularity. They know sci-fi shooter very well.
Yeah. I think that could work, but some people will freak out, thinking, it's going to be like Call of Duty. Look, we've had some really good Call of Duties in the past, but we've also had some really bad ones. My point is that, I think, and even machine games, right? Machine games would be an excellent pick for a Halo game. because the Wolfenstein games are crazy. Indiana Jones,
Oh man, I could imagine how heavy story they would get with a Halo game.
yeah, and playing Indiana Jones, like man, they know how to do first person action, first person set pieces. The sky's the limit. But who knows? Here's the thing, right? And this is the best part: the fact that Asher Sharma will do something about it, because it feels like
Yeah, I'm convinced she will.
yeah, because it feels like a lot of Xbox studios and they've kind of just been like allowed to do whatever they want, and there's been no oversight. And like, look, creative freedom's all cool and all, but like these developers, they sit there in a studio for years not putting out a game, and all I can think, right, is what are they making? What are they doing? Right? Like, you put out Halo Infinite in 2021, which I really enjoyed. We're told we're going to get expansions. It did get multiplayer support for X amount of years, but like, what did these people do in these studios when they're not putting a game out for years? Because they haven't been making a new Halo game for a while. As far as we know, up until a couple of months ago, there was no new active Halo game in development. Even though we were told that was the case, right? So like, and this is a big thing we're seeing around studios worldwide, where these developers aren't putting games out for years, and sometimes when they do put out a game, it's a game no one wants. I mean, that's a topic for another day, but yeah, rant over.
Can I
Now,
say one more thing,
yeah,
if that's okay? Oh, I was just gonna say I would close with basically, if I could somehow shepherd Halo, I would handle it like Star Wars. Like where, back in the day, LucasArts had a studio and they would handle some things in-house and they would do some games there, but for the most part, they would hear pitches from really passionate, good studios across the globe that had a particular idea or genre of expertise and let them cook before the EA exclusivity deals and all that nonsense. Like, Knights of the Old Republic, one of the best games ever made. Forget just Star Wars, one of the best RPGs ever. Was a pitch like that. Sith Lords from Obsidian, same thing. Republic Commando from Pandemic. You got Rogue Squadron from whoever did that. Like all Force Unleashed 2, all these games from different people because they came up with cool pitches and cool ideas and they had a passion for the project. It wasn't just farmed and chilled out to some randos. It was like legit like Star Wars, I mean Halo is their Star Wars, their Lord of the Rings type IP. Like Elder Scrolls, which we'll get into later, is like that level as well, like type thing. It's more the Lord of the Rings to their Star Wars and Halo.
yeah,
But they can really, really do something. Like no one is saying like completely shutter the. Well, some people are, but n- not saying shutter 343 dash Halo Studios and just completely, like have nothing to do with the franchise at all. Like make it to where other people just get a chance, and if they have a great pitch, let them cook. That's what I would do.
yeah. I at least like I was saying, Asha Sharma, she's gonna make changes, right? And we haven't seen changes in a lot of these studios in a long time. I mean, look at Bethesda, right? We've all been wondering for years, where the hell is Elder Scrolls 6? Which we'll be talking about in a bit. But like, where's all these Fallout games, right? They have the right IP, the right studios. Where are the Fallout games? And I mean that with a plural. And what happens after she gets in? Oh yeah, we know about multiple Fallout games now, with a rumor that Clockwork Revolution might make another one, right? So like the ball's moving now. And by the way, whenever I talk like this, some people think I'm just like putting down Phil Spencer. But the truth is, like not Halo, but Xbox has had these like amazing studios, amazing talent, amazing IP, and amazing box, and it just feels like for the past 4 years nothing's really happened. A bunch of good games have come out, which are cool, but like there's been IP that's been sitting there. There's the box that hasn't been getting feature updates. You can tell that one's really annoyed me. and you've had people in studios not make games, so like finally the ball is moving. But anyway, we'll move on. You know what? We're going to go over every single Gamescom game that's coming to Xbox. Because let me tell you, there's around 50. And honestly, if I watch a showcase that has good pacing and I want to play most games, that's a hell of a good sign. So, they opened up the show with this game called, let me see, Elta Defy All Gods. This is a third-person sci-fi action-adventure game. It's a single-player game. Looks really cool. Next up, we had a story trailer for Gears of War E-Day, and this may actually be the best Gears of War trailer I've ever seen. It's so good. Graphically, amazing. It's got that OG Gears tone, which everyone loves. It's grimy, it's gritty, it's lived in. It's got those horror elements, and it's just good to see. Next up, they showed off a brand new story trailer for Resonance: A Plague Tale Legacy, which is out today, by the way. Digital Foundry did a test of it. Performs really great on Xbox. In fact, it actually performs best on Xbox, which is cool to see. Next up, we have a brand new trailer for Tides of Annihilation. This is one of my most anticipated games. It's made by a new Chinese studio. By the way, Asian studios are cooking. This might sound bad, but I've noticed that Japanese, Korean, and Chinese studios can not only make really good games faster, but their quality is insane. Right? And maybe it's because
it's a whole different mindset over there, I would say.
Yeah, and I might have a rant about that at some point. But Tides of Annihilation looks fantastic. It features a new voice actress because, Jennifer English, she's had some health problems, so she's not doing the game anymore, which is perfectly fine. And the new actress, she sounds great. But this has like amazing gameplay. A lot of people have been calling it a Souls-like. I've looked into this. They've actually answered this question a lot. It's not a Souls-like. It's just got crazy action. It's got the combat you'd think you'd see in like an Elden Ring based Dream. It's hard to explain. But that game's going to be hot. It's coming out next year. Let's see what we got next. Oh, they announced a brand new...
actress is Grace from Resident Evil Requiem.
That's why she sounded familiar. Okay.
They got another A-lister, so it's in good hands.
Okay, well, she did a fantastic job during the show. Next up, they showed off this game called Loaf Song, which is a cutesy, art-driven adventure. They announced a brand new Mega Man title called Mega Man Dual Override. This is coming to Xbox next year. It looked really cool. I didn't expect to see a brand new Mega Man game by Capcom, but when you make it as much money as they are, especially off Resident Evil just killing it, this new Capcom game, it looked good. I think people should pay attention to that one. People like, classic games. We've got a brand new trailer for Rayman Legends Retold. This game's it's a full-on remake. They've put bigger music-based levels into the original game, which is really cool. The music levels were arguably the best part. Next up, they showed off... Oh, by the way, so I had to do some digging because a lot of these titles, when they were announced, they didn't actually have any platforms at the end of the trailers. So, like... thank you for whoever decided to do that. And we're also going to be talking about logos later on the show. But the next Heroes of Might and Magic 3 remake is coming to Xbox. Now, if you're a fan of like RTS games or like strategy style games, people are going to be all over this. It looks really cool in action. Next up, we have PUBG DeadNet, which is a brand new game about zombies in this sort of like... Honestly, when the game was first shown off, I actually thought it was Far Cry. Brand new first-person shooter. It looked pretty cool, I'm not going to lie. But yeah, looks good. We got a brand new trailer for Once Human. This is a free-to-play post-apocalyptic sci-fi adventure game where this game is actually out now. You can play it for free. And there's also some in-game Game Pass benefits. Next up, we got a new trailer, and this like about a week and a half ago. Rainbow Six Tactics. It's basically an XCOM game, but with Rainbow Six characters. And, actually it kind of works. So I think Rainbow Six fans, if they want to try something different, why not? We are getting a bunch of games that are like XCOM. So, people like those style of games. Next up, we have Sea of Remnants. This is a brand new action-adventure game that's about pirates. It actually looks really good. It's a single-player RPG. Next up, we have Road Kings. Now, this is another Focus Entertainment published title. It's been developed by Saber Interactive. And my God, they have like 10 games being developed at any time.
How do they sleep is my
No idea.
question. I mean, speaking of Asian studios, my gosh, Saber is like got these guys hooked up to machines or something.
Yeah. And they also remaking KOTOR. Like, how? By the way, this wasn't at the Gamescom show, but it was at the Gamescom booth today. They put out a brand new trailer for, what do you call it? Oh my God, the name's on the tip of my tongue.
Hellraisers?
No, the racing game. Oh my God, Stuntman.
Oh yeah, with the Jurassic Park stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, so when they showed off the game back in June, they couldn't show off dinosaur-related stuff due to some legal stuff. I don't know what was going on. But anyway, they finally showed off Jurassic World stuff. It looks cool. There's a mission where you have to drive a motorcycle alongside velociraptors. Like, yes. Like, and for people that have never played Stuntman before, let me tell you, Stuntman was so good. You can play Stuntman Ignition on Xbox. It was also an Xbox Gold game, so it's worth checking to see if you have it. But basically, you play as a stuntman, and you have to go through different scenarios and movies. So when the game comes out, you're going to be able to play through scenarios from the Fast and the Furious movies, the Jurassic Park movies.
I think Back to the Future, right?
Yeah, Back to the Future's in there as well. I believe Ghostbusters is in there as well as TV shows such as Knight Rider, Miami Vice. In that.
So 80s, 90s goodness.
Yeah, and that game's going to be great. And like all other Saber Interactive games, it says coming soon at the end of the trailer. They do that, by the way, with all their titles. No matter how many years away it is, it's coming soon. And I know why developers do that. It's so you wishlist it. I get it. I mean, hell, I've got it wishlisted. But anyway, that game looks good. But yeah, back to Saber Interactive. So they announced a new game called Road Kings. And you basically have to drive trucks through sort of American land that's been destroyed by natural disasters. like tornadoes and stuff. Earthquakes and stuff. It looks really good, and I don't typically like this genre of game. I'm not gonna lie, I watched that trailer, I thought I really want to play it. But that's the thing about Saber Interactive. I want to play all of their games. By the way, Saber Interactive put out a game a couple of months ago nobody talks about, and it's called Docked. And you work as a dock worker, shipping containers off and on to cargo ships. That's all you do, and it looks really relaxing. But that's like one of the 10 games they're making. Next up, they showed off a game called Jenny God's Nether. Now, the thing about this game is it looks incredible. It's a third-person action RPG. It's a Chinese-made game, and at the end of the trailer, it said 2028. But when I saw the graphics in game, I thought I don't think that's current gen. So I have a suspicion that they're just saying Xbox Series X, and it's just going to be next gen anyway. So yeah, if people want to check that out, it stars a woman with she's wearing like a red robe type thing. It's sword-based combat, and it's arguably one of the most beautiful looking games I've ever seen. But yeah, that's called Jenny God's Nether. My God, 2028, we're already cooking. Next up, we saw a new story trailer for Control Resonant. That game looks great. The Blood of Dawnwalker got a brand new launch trailer. Oh, by the way, we haven't had a show since we found out about all this. So the Blood of Dawnwalker got console footage on YouTube last week. And they went across 2 modes for each console. So the Xbox Series X, PlayStation 5, PlayStation 5 Pro, both had 2 modes. You had quality mode at 30 frames per second and 4K. You had balanced mode at dynamic 4K at 40 frames per second. Now, when I saw this, I thought, oh, this game looks great. I'll get it, right? And when I opened up social media, I could not have been prepared for the bloodbath I saw in the replies, because my God in heaven, people were absolutely livid that this game wasn't 60 FPS. Now, Logan knows my stance on 60 FPS. I prefer 60. I think 60 is great. But if a game is 30, I'll just go, oh well, and I'll get on with the rest of my day. I think Logan's basically in the same boat, right? Um, so
Basically, like if it has 8-bit and it's a good game, I do not care. So, frames to me is not a huge deal.
yeah, so to me, I thought it's not a big deal. But the amount of people in the replies, I was saying this is an unoptimized game. Otherwise, it would be 60. By the way, people that say that, I don't realize they know what they're saying. Like, if you think any game can run at 60 on every piece of hardware, it just needs to be optimized. You are wrong, man. Right? A lot of games are CPU heavy. Games like the Blood of Dawnwalker are going to be CPU heavy. So, like, if they can't run at 60, it shouldn't be surprising to anyone. Anyway, so I saw the gameplay footage. I thought it looks great. The combat looks amazing. And for people that don't know, when they announced this game, they showed off combat. It basically has this directional-based combat you kind of see in the For Honor games, or the For Honor game. And I was never a fan of that style of combat. Well, thankfully, they listened to feedback because there's a traditional combat system in the game that's very much like The Witcher 3 in the title. So, big win for me there. And a lot of other people, like that directional-based combat, people just don't like it. Well, anyway, a couple of days pass, maybe 2. They literally put out brand new gameplay, and it's got a third mode on each console, 60 FPS. And apparently, they didn't announce 60 FPS because they didn't want to get anyone's hopes up, or they just wanted to do more testing. But it turns out they wanted to put out a 60 FPS version of Blood of Dawnwalker at launch for all these consoles. So, yeah. They could have saved themselves a lot of hassle online if they just announced the 60 FPS version. But hey, look, I'm happy for them. The 60 FPS version, by the way, it looks great. Again, it's dynamic 4K. Honestly, that game's probably going to be one of the best games of the year. It's basically The Witcher 3, which in my opinion is a great thing. Logan, what do you think about the whole frame rate situation? Because that was a hectic few days.
Yeah, I am the could not be bothered less about frames. Like I said before, like FPS to me for the longest time only meant first person shooter. It wasn't until I really got into the weeds of the industry and online discourse that I even learned that there was another FPS and what all that meant and all that. To me, like I'm a graphics snob, so I usually like give me the prettier version rather than the more like the framier version. But like Jedi Survivor, we've used that one as an example millions of times. That game was just downright belongs in the Lurv gorgeous.
Yeah.
Just beautiful. And I'm like, why would I not have it running in absolute stunning mode? Why would I not? Why would I deprive myself of that experience? And then there's like more multiplayer centric games where it's like, yeah, the prettiness doesn't really matter when you got this guy 360 no scoping you from a corner alley, rooftop or whatever. And so it's more about frames and stuff. So to me, I couldn't be bothered less. It's a bummer they got much grief over it. And seeing as it's CD Projekt Red former devs,
Yeah.
I trust they're going to be cooking.
Oh,
I
yeah.
have zero worries about it. And if it's anything like their previous work, it's going to be great. And everybody's going to be eating a lot of crow. And this will all be forgotten about.
Yeah. And before we get into the rest of the list, we have the first super chat of the day by Nick W. Thank you very much for the $4.99. He says, Dawnwalker looks great, but it comes out around the same time as Onimusha. I pre-ordered every big game coming in September. Yeah, September is packed. You know how I make these videos of top X amount of games coming out this month, which I have one being edited right now. It should be out in the next couple of days. But let me tell you, it was almost a top 30 list. Right, every developer on Earth they've just decided, hey, you know what? GTA is coming out in November. Let's just launch our games in September. Why not? Willy-nilly.
Unless you're a Chad like Godzilla and Barbie, then you have balls and you show up.
Yeah,
it took Godzilla and Barbie to show up.
Yeah, and honestly, I get it. Like scary GTA, and we're going to be talking about GTA in a bit, but I get it. But come on, right? I'm not going to play just one game in November, right? Like Onimusha, right? Like Nick just said, Onimusha looks great, right? I think Onimusha and Dawnwalker, they're both going to do really well. You know, one's an RPG with the Witcher vibe, and the other one is a Capcom game, so it's probably going to pop off, right? But like, there's so many games coming out in September. I just don't know how they're going to do. You know, and I'm not even talking about indie games. I'm talking about AA and AAA. Like, it's stacked, absolutely stacked. And by the way, there was a bunch of games that were announced at Gamescom, that come out in September. That's how packed it is, right? So like, it is a packed month. If anything, it's the best month of the year for releases. Like, there's some releases coming out in September. I can't believe like that weren't even at Gamescom. That no one's talking about, but like, it's just a busy month. October, the thing about October is, and I've noticed a lot of developers like, October's already stacked as it is, but they want to shy away from that because, and I've been told this, some developers think that if you put a game out maybe a month either way of GTA, it's not going to sell. And to me, like, that's not the case. You know, I maybe I buy too many games, but like, put out a game in November, I just don't care, right? I'm going to play more than that game. You know, December's a weird month for video games because developers don't like to put out a game a week before Christmas. So typically you have the first 2 weeks that actually have games coming out. You know, January you tend to have good releases, but like GTA really messed everything up. So like, September is absolutely stacked. It's disgusting. But I do think Dawnwalker in particular will do really well, and the fact that they keep talking about that game as a franchise, they clearly know how many people have wishlisted the game. Onimusha, I think a lot of people have wishlisted that as well. And you also have like Dune Awakening, right? That's coming to console. That's going to be huge on console. So like, it's absolutely insane how many games are coming out. And if you happen to be mega rich, I'm happy for you. Like, if you price up all the games that are coming out that on that list that I have coming out in the next couple of days, you're talking about maybe a couple of grand. And then you have, you know, the DLC, you have the collector's editions. Like, it's crazy, but hey, it's a good problem to have, you know. Which, it's kind of funny because if you go back maybe a decade, you'd have like months at a time where no big releases would come out, and everything would just be out in November. Thankfully, times have changed. But yeah, thanks for the $4.99, Nick. I do think those games are going to do well, but it will be a tough month for the smaller titles like AA that can't get, you know, virality or have enough marketing dollars, really. So, like, in fact, AA is the one to be worried about. You know, if you have an indie game made by one dude, right, on a Wednesday on their couch, maybe that'll go viral on social media. But if you have a AA game that's a cool premise, but like, AA games have next to no marketing. But yeah, it's a bit weird out there. Now, let's get back to the list of games, because again, there's so many good games coming to Xbox that were announced at Gamescom. So next up, we've got a brand new story trailer for Exodus. Now, for people that know, I kind of like Mass Effect. This game is made by former Mass Effect devs, and this game also looks like Mass Effect. So it's like, I'm all over this game, I'll be honest. I'm going to hype train the living hell out of this game. I just know it. But honestly, it's ticking all the boxes for me. It's got, you know, it's got dialogue that you have branching choices. Your choices actually affect the storylines in different planets. And this game just looks genuinely good. It's a third-person hub world sci-fi RPG. What's not to like? But yeah, that's coming out next summer, so that game's going to be good. Next April. I got the dates mixed up. So that game looks great. Next up, they showed off a brand new game called Warlock Dungeons and Dragons. Now, this game stars Trisha Helfer from Battlestar Galactica. She played number 6, and she was also in Mass Effect 2 and 3 and played Edie. This game looks phenomenal. It's a third-person, over-the-shoulder action-adventure game set in the Dungeons and Dragons universe where you play as a witch, and it looks amazing. Great-looking combat. Honestly, that might be one of my most anticipated games now. Looks good. By the way, since you haven't watched Gamescom yet, Logan, did you happen to see this game? Because I think you might like it.
No, but I heard the name and I saw the title character and was interested, so I will definitely check that trailer out.
Yeah, looks so good. And now there was a game coming out, Logan. I know you're gonna like this. It's called "There Are No Ghosts at the Grand." It's been at the
Oh yes, this game looks like a Wes Anderson trippy as heck film. It looks really fun.
yeah, but when I saw this, I thought this is your thing because you spend basically half the time during the day because there's day and night cycles in the game, but you spend half the time renovating houses with this like tool, sort of like a power wash type thing. But at night, you hunt ghosts. So I thought,
This is perfect.
yeah,
It's literally made for me. I love it.
yeah, and that's also a Game Pass game as well. Let's see what we got next. Oh, Eugenics, this indie game, popped off the other day on social media. That's also coming to Xbox. It's also launching day one in Game Pass. Metro 2039 got a brand new story trailer. If you've played Metro Exodus, you know what you're getting into, and that game is excellent. I can't praise that game enough. It's just so good.
Hey, had a train. We
Yeah,
like trains.
yeah. Put a train in the game, and I like it. Next up, we got a brand new story trailer for Aliens Fireteam Elite 2. That game looks good. It's more Fireteam. What's not to like? This game also has way more alien types in it, which I think that was basically the only problem with the first game. There wasn't enough variety with enemies. Clearly not the case with the new one. Now, there was a game announced, and I think this game actually made the loudest noise that no one expected outside of Witcher. And this is a game called Stage Tour. Now, this game is a plastic guitar game, much like Guitar Hero. It's launching with 90 plus tracks, a bunch of bands ranging from Paramore to Metallica. And this game looks exactly like what I've been wanting Guitar Hero to do for years. You have a band where you can actually customize your members. There's different stages which you can customize. There's online modes. There's single player modes. There's a single player story, right? So like, this game looks amazing, right? Plastic guitar games are coming back in the best way possible. And I read their FAQ. It looks like they don't really have any intention to bring out sequels. It looks like they're just going to update the game with songs. That's what they need to... I'm going to make a post about Guitar Hero at some point, but that's what you need to do with a game like that. We don't need a new guitar coming out every year where you have to buy the new guitar, buy the new disc, but you can't play your old songs on the new game. Just stop doing that. But this game is doing everything right. You buy one game, you get the songs. The band list is crazy. You've got Def Leppard. I think I saw Whitesnake on there. Crazy list. But if you go to their website, there's actually a bunch of different guitars you can buy. So like, you've got Gibsons, Les Pauls, and So by the way, I haven't asked you about this, Logan. So the price of the game, right? So you can buy the game standard for I think it's $60, or you can buy the game and a guitar for I think I didn't see the dollars. I only saw the UK price, but in the UK it's £119 for
it was like 130, I think, US, something
Okay.
like that.
Honestly, to me, I think that's fair.
Yeah, that's fair.
And by the way, it's a wireless guitar. So like, if you're like me and you're clumsy, you won't be ripping out any cord from your console. So like, I think that people have been wanting Guitar Hero to come back for a long time. They're going to be all over this. There's also a drum set and a mic. Now the biggest surprise wasn't actually shown off there about that game. I went to their website and read everything in the FAQ. They are wanting to support legacy guitars. So if you have a guitar for let's say Guitar Hero 3 on 360, you might be able to use it, which I think is incredible. My God.
That would be awesome, and it would allow a lot of people to hop in with just the base game.
Yeah. So like, if you're like me, and like I used to love Guitar Hero 2. It's one of my favorite Guitar Hero game. Unfortunately, I just don't have the guitar anymore. But like, the fact that people still have plastic guitars, hanging around, you're going to be able to use them. And also the drum kits off Rock Bands. So like, giving people options, I like what they're doing. And then I was surprised, or I shouldn't have been surprised when I found this. Some of the people that came out and invented Guitar Hero are working on this game. So that's why it looks so good. But honestly, I couldn't be happier because I I love Guitar Hero. It's just been so long since we had them. Activision kind of screwed up years ago when they were releasing like 2 Guitar Hero games a year, and songs weren't transferable. But honestly, I love what they're doing. Logan, what do you think? Because when Microsoft purchased Activision, the question of Guitar Hero came up, and a lot of people, including myself, were like saying, "Oh, they need to bring this back." But this developer, they bringing back basically Guitar Hero as stage to it, and it looks pretty good.
Yeah, this could be another potential missed opportunity under previous admin watch. Like theoretically, it could be like they could have greenlit a Guitar Hero or gotten something off the road with that. But it is what it is, and having original developers make it and get the band back together, so to speak,
Yeah,
to make this game looks awesome. Legacy support for older controllers is amazing if they can pull it off. And I'm 100% down for this, and this is something I want to support. Strongly want to support, because I have thought it was ridiculous and dumb and like all the words you can use for how ridiculous games and licensing and music is throughout history, and how these games got people spent hundreds or
yeah,
thousands of dollars on soundtracks to these games. I'm not even kidding. Like, I know I bought like a ton of songs for Rock Band and Rock Band 2. And I bought a whole bunch of the different versions of Guitar Hero. Like, there's Aerosmith, there's Van Halen, there's 80s, there's, this or that. And that's when it went downhill, is when they tried to, instead of making that an expansion pack, they did this. Like, I think it's a brilliant idea. Instead of sequels, just do expansions. Like we've been saying they should do for the sports games, but they won't do because they've got everybody by the balls on those. And they know you're going to pay 70 to 120 every year for it. And it is what it is, but I'm super excited about this and I cannot wait. I am very, very happy about this.
yeah. And when it comes to expansions, they could do like themes around certain bands.
Mm-hmm.
Because Metallica's already in the game, they could do a Metallica expansion. Also, or they could do like a hair metal '80s expansion.
Yeah, Beatles,
Yeah,
like some bands that have huge catalog.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it doesn't even have to be just metal. Maybe they could do like an emo 2000s pack. You know,
Oh
um,
man, I'd be all over that. Yeah.
um, and if they really want to make a killing, you do a Taylor Swift edition.
Oh my gosh, you know how much a hot pink guitar version
Yeah,
to Taylor Swift bundle would sell
yeah.
on those? Scalpers would be like getting kidneys level of money for those.
Yeah, and I know some people might be listening and think, "Why is he talking about Taylor Swift?" Like, Swifties spend like every time Taylor Swift has a concert somewhere, the economy in that place has like 1,000% boost. Like, but because they spend money, a lot of it.
I mean, she has a Star Wars level circle of influence, and I'm not even kidding. And I'm a diehard Star Wars guy.
Yeah,
It's insane.
but hey, I'm happy to see music games are back, and also I did see that they're gonna support that controller that works on Fortnite. It's called like a DST controller or something. I can't remember the name.
Okay, very cool.
But hey, they want to support as many as possible. But yeah, really cool. Let's see. Oh, by the way, and something else they're doing. The guitars you buy on their website are multi-platform. Whereas back on the 360, if you had a guitar on the 360, it wouldn't work on the PS3, and the PS3 version wouldn't work on the Xbox or the Nintendo.
Okay. So these won't have ports, obviously, because they're wireless, but they're making it to where the signal will somehow connect via Bluetooth or whatever to any device,
Yeah,
more like a Stadia type controller.
yeah.
Okay, interesting.
Which is thank God, because like with headsets, like you still can't get most headsets that like connect to everything, which I think is silly. But hey, they're doing something cool. Let's see what else they had. Okay, so a brand new third-person action game called Gravehounds was announced. You actually play as these animals. Looks pretty cool. Crazy Taxi World Tour got a multiplayer trailer. That game looks crazy. Two Rock Origins is now coming out in 2027. That's also a Saber Interactive game. Now, this game surprised me. Lego City Skylines. That game will slap. If you're going to make a game that's a city builder, yeah, it seems so obvious. Like, that game's going to be huge. And bear in mind, it was a European show where City Skylines is massive. Right? Up until recently, City Skylines was the highest rated game on Xbox. So, like, people love City Skylines and people love Lego. You combine the two, my God. That's going to print money. Next up, they showed off a brand new story trailer for Valor Mortis. This is a first-person Souls-like. Looks really cool. It's also launching day one on Game Pass. Transport Fever 3, where you basically control the transport of this small city. Next up, Exterminauts. This looks really cool. This is a third-person action game. No Law, first-person cyberpunk role-playing game. Now, a lot of people in the chat were saying it looks Cyberpunk 2077, but the truth is there's only so many different ways you can do first-person Cyberpunk, and that game looks great. It's using all the latest Unreal Engine 5 features. Apparently it's going to come out early 2027. Next year is looking stacked, by the way. That game is not holding back on the gore either. It's also got immersive sim elements. So let's say you want to infiltrate a room that's filled with enemies. Well, maybe you can like duct tape let's say a grenade to like one of those rumbas and send the rumba into that room with those enemies, and it'll take them out. Just really cool things like that, which I like. Next up, they showed off a game called Ontos, which is a new game by the Soma developers. It's a first-person adventure title with horror elements. Looks super cool. Zoopunk, which is a third-person action game where you play as a rabbit, a humanoid rabbit that's basically in that Metroidvania game called Fist, but it's a big AAA game now. Next up, they showed off the game Roko Kingdom. This is a huge Japanese Pokemon-style game. It's finally coming to Xbox. That's going to be huge. Next off, they showed off this brand new Chinese game called The Defiant, which looks to be a third-person horror game. Let's see what we got next. Okay, Final Fantasy VII Revelation got a brand new trailer. That game looks amazing. It's coming to all consoles at the same time, which you love to see. Logan, who would have thought we would be saying this? Like all platforms, same time. Whereas like 3 years ago, we thought these games wouldn't come over.
Yeah, it seems like Konami has taken the place of Square on the money bag and the back alley kind of deals for exclusivity at the moment, where at least with those we'll get them in a year.
Yeah.
With these, we didn't know for a while. Just thank God they fixed their relationship with Square. We don't have to deal with that BS anymore.
Yeah. Oh God. How many times have on this channel I've whined about Square. I've said some nasty things. You know, on social media I've made jokes at their expense a lot. And what's funny is, and yeah, I'm gonna have a little rant. What's funny is like ever since they start supporting Xbox again and Switch, right, with the all the Final Fantasy stuff, Kingdom Hearts 4 is coming to Xbox next year, which looks great. The fact that they are just like fully committed to multi-platform again, and they said in their investors call that the sales of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth on the Switch and Xbox were great. Bear in mind, they are sticklers for this stuff. So, like, they normally say their games like need to sell like exorbitant amount of millions to do okay. I'm looking at you, Tomb Raider 2013. The fact that they said Rebirth did great on the Switch and Xbox, that leads me to believe that, well, Rebirth, it was at the top of the charts in the UK. It's got a high amount of reviews on the console, and I'm always seeing people post footage of it. So, like, that game's clearly done well. The exclusivity agreement clearly didn't do this franchise any favors. And honestly, a game this big, this beautiful, and it's a third-party game, there's no reason it should have been exclusive in the first place. So yeah, it turns out Nintendo gamers buy games, and it turns out Xbox gamers buy games. Also JRPGs. I just want to, like, I'm digitally throwing egg in everyone's face that said otherwise for years, because they have no idea what they're talking about. Gamers will buy good games. Like, that's just a fact, right? And they actually did like a kind of a marketing cycle for Rebirth. Rebirth was very well known to come out on Xbox. It was all over the Xbox store and that stuff. So yeah, but yeah, Revelation, it looks great. Logan, what do you think? Because I know you haven't played Rebirth or 7 Remake yet, but what do you think of them actually? Like, they're committing to multi-platform in the best way possible. You know, Revelation looks great, although if people haven't played part 1 and 2 yet, don't watch the trailer. But Square Enix, they're back.
Yeah, I would basically just do the Martin Scorsese meme of it. This is cinema. This is peak. It's great. Just they're firing on all cylinders. Don't touch them. Don't talk to them. They're like on fire right now. I'm very very happy with what Square Enix is doing.
Yep. And you know, there's a new Final Fantasy game coming to Xbox in October. Final Fantasy Resonance. By the way, I don't know why.
That one looks sick.
Yeah.
With all the like character summons, like lightning got announced.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's so cool.
Yeah, Noctis is in there from Final Fantasy 15. Basically every single Final Fantasy, you know, Clive from 16. So like that game looks fantastic. It's doing that, you know, HD 2D art style, which is just great. By the way, I don't know why all of a sudden all developers are starting to use some word that sounds like resonance. Like, developers have
you noticed gaming is cyclical?
Yeah.
Like, remember a fun story, you probably remember, but when Doom Eternal and Halo Infinite both came out within the same year, and they both laughed and said that they had actually considered the other's name instead.
Huh.
And so there's technically a timeline where we could have had Doom Infinite and Halo Eternal or something like that. And it was just really interesting. But yeah, like the whole naming convention thing is interesting.
Yeah, because you have, you know, Control Resonant, you have Resonance, A Plague Tale Legacy, and Final Fantasy Resonance. So, like, developers are discovering new words. But yeah, that game looks great. Look, Square Enix, I kicked them down for years, but they've been nothing but good for the past year and a half. And by the way, they gave me review codes. Right? Do you know how crazy that is? They gave me review codes, even though I've been their harshest critic. Obviously, I know for a fact they've made the money back since, because I talk about the games that much. But yeah, Square Enix, they rock. Now, the thing that they ended Gamescom with, and by the way, we still have the Xbox topics to go over, but the thing they ended the Gamescom show with was a Witcher 3 remaster. Now, bear in mind, the expansion has been rumored for 2 years because some Polish journalist found out 2 years ago, almost to the day, that, you know, us CD Projekt Red are making an expansion. Some people didn't believe them, some people did. But yeah, basically the team that's making the expansion is making the Witcher remake, and apparently they coming out with this brand new Songs of the Deep expansion. Sorry, Songs of the Deep is the film. Songs of the Past is the expansion. But they're coming out with this new expansion that's basically going to set up the Witcher 4. And that trailer looks great. It's got a brand new weapon in the game. It kind of works like Scorpion's chain, which looks great. But they announced The Witcher 3 remastered. And I've been asked a bunch about this. So, people have asked me, but Jamie, didn't this game already get remastered in 2022? No, it got a next-gen update. Right? It got an update, so if you own the regular edition, or if you own the, you know, Game of the Year edition or Complete edition, whatever it's called, you get the update for free, which is cool. There's tons of improvements. They actually fixed one of the quests, which was broken. Excellent visuals, improved gameplay. Well, they going in and they changing everything again. They doing a complete visual overhaul of the entire game. The changing up gameplay, making gameplay transitions smoother. So if you're climbing a ladder or climbing anything, it would be a bit clunky, we'll say. They're changing all of that. There's like hundreds of improvements. They're even doing improvements to the new photo mode that came out in 2022. There's going to be enhancements to like just visuals in general. Or even like the way signs and attacks work. They've redone the animations. They're going to do different effects for these spells. So like they're putting out a remaster for this 11-year-old game in September for free to current owners. That's the mind blowing part, right? And they made the expansions free for people to download if they've never played them. I'm sorry, but if you see the Project Red, my God, they have to be proud of their games, right? They were put in such a slump after what happened with Cyberpunk's launch. They lost every single bit of goodwill that they earned over the years. And what have they done since? They put their heads down. They got to work. They made Cyberpunk an incredible game that performs great, looks great. They expanded Cyberpunk in many ways, put out an expansion for it. They have Cyberpunk Edge Runners, which is an amazing anime. And Cyberpunk popped off again with the anime, and then Phantom Liberty. And like The Witcher, it's continuing to get support in an 11-year-old game, right? A lot of other developers that put out big games like they're not putting out 4K patches. Sometimes we have to pay for things, and they just call them remastered, So like CD Projekt Red, they surprised everyone. So the biggest pop of Gamescom opening night live was not just a expansion to an 11-year-old game, but also a free remaster to an 11-year-old game. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. Logan, what do you think? Because like The Witcher 3, it's one of the most beloved games of all time. I think it's one of the best games of all time. But the fact they just announced that and like it's free, there's an expansion coming next year, and it's like I don't know. They are one of the best developers in the world.
100%. Like I still remember to the day buying Witcher 2, Assassins of Kings, and Witcher 3 at launch. And,
Yeah,
them coming with thank you notes
yeah,
and
yeah,
cards and maps and story booklets or little brief guides and like a full like soundtrack, all kinds of stuff. Like they have always, except for the Cyberpunk launch, which is what it is, they have always been like S tier of S tier studio and quality and fan communication and respect and just like if they say something or do something, you're gonna get the best possible. So I'm just stunned they just announce a free remaster out of nowhere and just drop it, and they're going back and overhauling combat and visuals and adding an expansion that looks really meaty and good and will tie things to Witcher 4. They're even like for the people who just had straight up base Witcher 3, you will get the upgrade that includes the other expansions except for the brand new one. Like already just free, ready to go, just as an upgrade as a thank you for owning the game. That is just that is very, very shrewd and smart and consumer friendly of them, and I applaud them. And I would say there are some well known studios, not naming any names that we know of, who have remastered a few games or remade a few games a handful or so of times and have charged a pretty penny every single time for a slightly different coat of paint or a slightly little tweak this or this. And then they do this. Oh, and by the way, it's getting Xbox Play Anywhere support
yeah.
on top of all of that. Like, my gosh, CD Red, take a bow. Congrats. You and Sean Murray, make the meme like, please, Sean, I have money to give you.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what people may have missed in there. it's a huge list of upgrades. Like, even things like weather effects on trees at a long distance, like just like something I never really thought about, but like the original game did that, and it looked really good at the time. But now it's going to look even better. The Switch version is getting Switch 2 support, so it's going to be 4K and all that jazz. So like they're going full hog with this game, and I love it, man. And what's funny is like you see all the time developers saying, okay, we ending content updates on this game and just support updates and all this stuff. But CD Projekt Red, they've said that about The Witcher twice. Right? The Witcher 3 twice, and like, no, we continue to get another upgrade. So like, are we going to see more upgrades next gen? With like path tracing or something, it wouldn't surprise me. But even if they don't do it, it's fine. Because when I fired up The Witcher the other day and I saw what it looked like, when its 2022 update, I was blown away. But yeah, the highlight of Gamescom was an 11-year-old game, but nobody cares. And the best part is like, and I hope more companies pay attention to this. If you had a game that did well 10 years ago, 15 years ago, put out a new content expansion for it. Like that Witcher expansion next year, I guarantee you. Actually, I'll bet on it. I bet the Witcher 3 expansion will be the best selling thing on the store when that comes out. Right?
That's a good bet to take.
It won't be a new game. It will be an expansion. And honestly, it's a very easy bet to make because that Doom expansion that came out recently, that was number one on the store in the UK. So like,
It's
I think
incredible.
yeah. So I think The Witcher 3 is going to be fine. But yeah, CD Projekt Red, they're killing it. Now let's get into the Xbox stuff because we still have a couple of things to talk about. So. Again, we're about an hour and a half into the show. If you're enjoying it, please hit like, share, and subscribe. It does help, especially on a Thursday when we're meant to go live on Tuesday, and the algorithm doesn't help us on days that aren't Tuesdays. It is what it is. So liking it's appreciated and all that stuff. Let's see. Okay, Xbox is removing logos from trailers. Now, we saw this was a bit of a big deal for a while because you'd see a trailer on an Xbox YouTube channel video, and at the end, you typically see, Xbox Game Pass, Play Anywhere, Xbox PC, and then they just start listing, PlayStation and Switch, and that really bothered people. And it's like, you advertising your games for your competitor now on your YouTube channel and on your social media, that's a big no. And Phil Spencer never really paid attention to anyone's doubts about this. I did anything about it or even acknowledged it, but Asher Sharma acknowledged it instantly. Obviously, they couldn't go in and do the Xbox Summer Showcase in June all over again within a couple of hours, but like all of a sudden, people have noticed that the new versions of these trailers, they don't list the PlayStation versions, and they're doing the right thing. Because look, these trailers will appear on the PlayStation YouTube channels, the Nintendo YouTube channels, and that's perfectly fine. Xbox does not need to have they don't need to market the other consoles versions. They just don't. So in my opinion, this is the correct move. They actually listening to feedback, and they're actually helping their brand image. For the longest time, Xbox's brand image, and by the way, in my opinion, they have the best console, the best controller, the best games, but their brand is hurt, and they fixing it. They're doing everything they can to fix it. And it's great to see because one minute you see a Halo developer wearing a PlayStation t-shirt at an Xbox show to Xbox removing logos from, their competitors' logos from their own trailers, which is good to see. Exclusives are back. They want to actually push their console. They're pushing the console again as their focus. And, saying that with the logos, some people might say it's just logos. It's not just logos. It's perception. Perception is reality, and let's be honest, Xbox's perception isn't the greatest at the minute. Honestly, we've talked about this before, Logan. I think it's the best move. They're actually paying attention, and I think it will work.
Yeah, it shows that Asha and the leadership team are clearly listening. When everybody flipped a gasket over, remember their E3 show?
Yeah.
Where they were going to have logos. and people are like, "What are we doing here? It's a simple, small ask. Don't bloody advertise the other competition. It really is not that hard." And she's like, "You know what? You're right. I didn't, that this is on me." And then lo and behold, this show, they got it. They addressed it. They put it forward the right way, and the focus was on the games, and that was that. It was not about platforms or, oh, see, lol, it's got a PlayStation logo on it, or this or this. It's just like, yeah, it's on Xbox, no dip. It's a Xbox show, just like every other platform has done. Congratulations, you've learned basic advertising 101 for, gaming. This is how it always goes. This is how it's supposed to go. And it's so funny is, I made the joke about exclusives before, and I'll do the same thing for this. Basically, it applies to all things Xbox, Nintendo, and Sony, is the HR meme where you've got
Yeah.
the attractive guy, whatever, and he says something to the girl, and she says, "Oh, that's so sweet." And then you've got this guy who's very much on the other end of the spectrum, and he says something just sweet and innocent to her, and she freaks out and calls HR. And it's like that. It's like Xbox gets the HR response for nothing, or for just existing, while other companies do all kinds of stuff and nobody bats an eye about it. And it is just, it's hilarious, and it's like, why is it fine for them but not for thee, and it's just amusing. And we'll get to it with the positron stuff, because lo and behold, somehow a positive is a negative in this universe, with, spin on some of these people.
Yeah.
And they, some of these game journos and bloggers might be ballerinas with the amount of balance and, you know, a flexibility to spin things in the way they do. It is quite impressive.
Yeah.
And just, yeah, I think it's a no-brainer. I'm glad they got the message, and the focus at the end of the day was on the games and the devs that were there to talk about them, and lo and behold, that's what happened.
Yeah, it's great to see. And I think that if you're an Xbox fan for the longest time, you see these logos at the end of the trailers, you're like okay, whatever. But like, if you making your games multi-platform and you advertising them elsewhere, like I was saying this to my friend the other day, like when it comes to consoles and they were doing multi-platform, you had two choices. You could either get one console with all the games, or another console with some of the games, and that's been their biggest problem for the past 2 years. And now they're getting back on track. They're wanting to make people aware that some of these games going forward are going to be exclusive. Even like Benny from Xbox On, Xbox UK. There's a clip going around of him saying like Xbox is the best place to play. I haven't heard an Xbox employee say that in years. Like they used to say it all the time, and it just feels like, honestly, I might get some hate for this. I feel like Phil Spencer from 2024 onwards, their attitude was like, we aren't ever going to be number one again. Let's just kind of like not try. Coasting by, like haven't seen any like positive attitude. But now I'm seeing 360 energy from Xbox, which is so good to see, because like during the 360 they were everywhere. They had the console to have in the best ecosystem with the best games. And now I'm seeing that same energy again. So I love what I'm seeing. It's great energy. Anyway, we'll move on. So new Fable gameplay was shown off at Gamescom. They showed off Bowerstone, which is Albion's great city. And honestly, Playground Games, they've done an incredible job. They cooked, because Bowerstone in previous games was kind of small. It was hub based. You didn't really have an open world city. They were always divided into different sections. And this, you have this huge open world city. It's arguably one of the most detailed fantasy cities I've ever seen. You can go into every single building in the game. Every single building. You can buy every business, much like, Fable 2 and 3. But you can buy every business, every home. And if you played Fable 2 like how I played, you basically bought every property in the entire game and then raised all their rent. And that works. But yeah, this game looks fantastic. The combat looks
You
good.
were a slumlord, Jamie?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I lorded over my people like there was no other. But it was fun. But in this Fable game, it looks like you can do the same. But that open world Bower Stone looks amazing. The magic looks great. The ranged combat looks great. Honestly, like Playground Games' first RPG might end up being one of the best games of next year, which is crazy. This is using the Forza Tech engine. I know engines are versatile, but when you've played so many racing games in an engine that's only been used for racing games, and you see this gorgeous RPG, and by the way, there are office style segments with the story, with like the deadpan to the camera and stuff, which I think is really cool. That's on brand for British humor. But honestly, they've knocked it out of the park. Logan, did you get a chance to see the new gameplay?
Yeah, it looks fantastic. I love Fable. Playground clearly knows what they're doing. They've taken their time and they've shown that they can make the jump from basically nailing the arcade open world racing genre and becoming the undisputed kings of it to entering the fray of high quality Western RPGs. And I can't wait for this. It looks great. They've updated the character models. They've updated, all these things. And it's clear they're listening to feedback and other stuff. And I can't wait for the game. And I really, really hope everyone shows up for that one in particular.
Yeah.
Because I want Fable to keep going. And I'm so glad it's coming back soon.
Yeah, and I'll give this one for free to Microsoft because you know what? They can give me a collector's edition. For sequels, you don't have to remake Albion every time. Some open world games have kept the predecessors, open world. The Saints Row 4 uses the same open world as Saints Row 3. Spider-Man 2 uses the same open world as Spider-Man 1, just they expanded it. Like, if they do
New York, yeah.
Yeah, if they do a Fable 2 at some point, you can just keep Albion as it is, just expand on it and change areas, right? I've talked about this before. I'm perfectly fine with developers reusing assets. Just reuse them the correct way. Look at Yakuza, right? How many Yakuza games have we played in Kamucho? Right, There's a lot of Yakuza games set in that same city, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. So like, if they do a Fable 2 at some point, just keep the same city, just expand it. I think. Like, Owen, would you have a problem with that?
Not at all. I mean, just like games that are based on real life, locations, like we've talked about, like Spider-Man. Like, how many Japanese games have you played that have had some version of Shibuya Square? It's like you can only do so much with it. You can reuse assets for these things. And it doesn't bother me at all if they reuse animations or locations and stuff like that. As long as they add to it with supplemental other meaningful things to make it different and new, then I'm golden. Like, you swing a sword. Yes, every game. All these sword games, you swing a sword. Yes, congratulations. But add something to this experience, and as long as they do that, I'm cool.
Yeah, and for people that haven't played Fable, like in a lot of RPGs, you can romance characters. Mass Effect, Dragon Age, but in Fable, you can romance someone, you can marry them, you can have multiple partners, you can have children, you can have a pet. I don't know if they've said the new one has pets, but like in the previous one you could, or Fable 2. But like you could have multiple wives, multiple husbands. You could get STDs in the game. It was beautiful. And like that game was like so weird. Like, you know, you could buy different businesses, change the rent, you know, you could kick people out of the houses. And it was just such a cool game, and the fact that they're bringing back those mechanics. But yeah, Fable's great. I'm just so happy that we're finally getting a new one. Let's see what we got next. You know what? Let's talk about the GTA stuff, because I've been itching to talk about Grand Theft Auto for ages, and so a lot of people had problems watching that. I think it was 26 minutes on Netflix. I'm putting this out there. I've been kind of down on Grand Theft Auto for the longest time because I played GTA 5 in 2013. I was kind of disappointed with the story. I was disappointed with the open world. It's a great game nonetheless, but like I was just disappointed with it. I thought GTA 4 was better. And anyway, I've been waiting for a brand new GTA since 2013. I was addicted to the multiplayer. I'm not going to go into that, but like, I've been waiting for a brand new story mode since then, and I've had nothing. You know, we get less and less open world city games. I've had nothing to play. Well, Cyberpunk was amazing, but like, you know what I mean. So anyway, I've been really anticipating this game, and you know, I know it's Rockstar. They're going to surprise us. You know, Red Dead Redemption 2 is one of the best games ever made. If they do that, but with GTA, it's going to be great. So when all that leaked content came out this past week, I did see a bunch of clips, and I was kind of disappointed by a bunch of it. And bear in mind, it was footage not presented in the best light. And, you know, that's something that happens with leaks. So in the back of my mind, I was telling myself, look, these are leaks. They aren't controlled. They aren't, you know, showing the game in the best light. You know, like when you see a bunch of leaks, they never have HDR for some reason. So anyway, I stopped watching the footage on Twitter, and I watched this Netflix thing. And I'm not going to lie, I think my head exploded. Like, this game looks incredible. It looks like the GTA I've always dreamed of. Even in 2013, I thought GTA 5 was a bit disappointing. This, to me, looks like the GTA I've been wanting since 4. It looks incredible graphically. The gameplay systems, it has many gameplay systems from Red Dead Redemption 2, which are incredible. The way you interact with things in the environment and people. You know, you hold down the trigger, you get the, you know, well, it was the PlayStation controller, but it'll be like X, Y, and B, if you know, voice commands or whatever. Or like, you know, like you can pick things up out of the fridge and eat them. Your character, Jason, and the other one, Lucia, like, depend on how much you work out or eat, your body will change over time. Much like San Andreas back in 2005, I think it was 5. And it's like they've done so much with this game. It's incredible. It's possibly one of the best looking games I've ever seen in my entire life. And one of my big takeaways from it was that the combat is, I'm not even kidding, exactly like Max Payne 3. Just the way the animations work when you're going into cover, picking up weapons. The way if you pull off a cool shot, the camera will pull out and go into a slow motion cinematic style. That is Max Payne 3 to the core. And GTA 5 did not have Max Payne 3 combat. And that was a big disappointment to me. So they've clearly listened to the feedback. So you've got Max Payne 3 style combat, or I should say inspired combat, in this beautifully immersive world. That, by the way, the main story is 80 hours long. Now, for people that have been following me for a while, you know my biggest complaint about GTA 5 was that it's a short game, right? But Red Dead Redemption 2 is a 90-hour game. So they've clearly paid attention to Red Dead Redemption, and man, I couldn't be happier. I put it this is how I've been critical of GTA and Rockstar for years on my channel. And let me tell you, I'm watching this gameplay and I'm smiling. Like, I was smiling throughout the whole thing. And I was just blown away because I didn't expect it to look this good. You know, the leaks were bad, you know, and I feel sorry for the developers at Rockstar because, you know, they didn't get to present their game in their light and how they wanted to, you know, have the game presented. But, man, this was 26 minutes of stuff we've never seen in game before. You saw there's a part where Lucia's driving, I think it's like a bank heist, and where you're playing as Jason firing from the back of the car with a rifle, and you're taking out the tires of these police cars. And the police cars, like, when the tires are taken out, they act like cars in real life. or like in action movies, which we haven't had before in a video game. Like, yeah, sometimes in scripted events such as Call of Duty set pieces, but we've never seen this kind of movement and animations in an open world game, for an open world modern city game. And they knocked it out the park. Even the soundtrack, right? I was worried, like, is this soundtrack going to be a bunch of Gen A slop? And you know, two songs that popped up, two artists that popped up during this gameplay. You had Phil Collins. I'm pretty sure there's a Phil Collins song in every single Grand Theft Auto, and also Def Leppard. So, like, out of the gate, I'm like, okay, soundtrack wise, we're doing good. Combat wise, we're doing good. Visuals, my god. Jason and Lucia are already likable characters. Already. And we've seen them for what? Oh, yeah, Depeche Mode. But we've seen what? 26 minutes. We have two likable protagonists where you could be playing as Jason driving a car, and then you could switch characters and go to Lucia and, like, you know, operate your phone or just like fire at other cars and stuff. Like, it's they've taken what worked in Grand Theft Auto 5 and took it to a whole new level. Logan, I've been gushing over this game for 5 minutes. Did you watch the gameplay yet?
Actually didn't. You know, believe it or not, you know, I'll play it when it comes out, and I'll get it eventually if it's, you know, when it goes on sale eventually, which it will. And I know it's a huge deal and stuff, but it's really just not my thing at the end of the day. Like, I like them. I think they're fun, but I've never been supremely gaga over the franchise. But I'm happy for everybody. It's turned out to be what they envisioned and dreamed of, and it sounds really cool. And I look forward to playing it down the road. But no, I actually have not watched it.
Okay. Because, like, again, I've been down on Rockstar for years, and I saw this, and again, I was smiling. This is like, open world city games we just don't get anymore. The last new one I'd say that was great was Cyberpunk 2077. You know, Watch Dogs Legion was fun, but that had its problems. Gorgeous open world London though. But, like, to have Grand Theft Auto come back after 13 years, and it has a bunch of elements I've wanted from other games in it, I couldn't be happier. The frame rate, by the way, this game was presented at 4K 60 frames per second. Sorry, 4K 30 frames per second. Honestly, I might get here for this. I don't care. Right? If it was 60, cool beans, lovely. I'm not bothered. This is my reaction to even if a game isn't 60, by the way. Oh, that's a shame. And then my eyes adjust after 2 minutes, and I'm having fun. It's not the biggest. It's not the end of the world to me. I play this with my friend I'll play Call of Duty with. He loves playing games at 120 frames per second. Even he is like, you know what? I'll play GTA at 30. It's not the end of the world. So it is what it is. Obviously, everyone's going to be different. And if you're super into PCs, obviously you're going to wait till next year and get the fancy PC version and play that at, like, you know, 12K, you know, super HDR and 244 frames per second. But honestly, I was so happy with this. Again, soundtrack alone, really happy with. The gunplay looked great. And just, like, the open world, so detailed, so many different things to do. I think that, you know, if you've been waiting a long time for a Grand Theft Auto game, this game's going to pay off. It's going to be great. This is going to have people's attention for a very long time. We haven't even seen what the online looks like, although I'm dreading it because I might get addicted again. Hopefully not. But yeah, to have, by the way, and having likable characters in a game, that's something I've seen people bring up a bunch of times today. There's a lot of games that can come out where sometimes these people's aura, maybe the personality isn't right. Like, you need likable characters in a game. I don't care what genre it is. If you have multiple protagonists or just one, you need to like that character. You need to like their personality, their vibe. And I got that from this game. Even the side characters were interesting. And by the way, in Grand Theft Auto 5, there's like 5 heists in the entire game, and that's the only time where you can go into stores and, you know, get the goods. But in this game, it looks like it's got businesses throughout the open world, which you can just attack at your will. So rather than have these predetermined heists, you can just do things how you please. You can bring up like a balaclava and cover your face, like like Red Dead Redemption. So if you're going to commit a crime, you do that. Nobody notices you, and when you get out of the region, you pull it back down. You're back to normal. The cops in the game actually recognize you by your face, hairstyle, clothes, and what vehicle you're driving. So basically, the awareness of the cops will go up depending on how many of those things are ticked off. We did see what a 4-star rating looked like, and it looked like it went up to 6, I think. And honestly, I'm gushing. I'm gushing over how good this game looks. Because again, imagine going from like being super down about a franchise and a developer for years to see this footage, and all of a sudden, like, those like old style like Looney Tunes cartoons where they lift them from the ground because they're in love. That's me with Grand Theft Auto, because I could not be happier. And by the way, for people that are waiting for the 4K YouTube version, it will be on YouTube in, I believe, 59 minutes. And that game is going to blow people away. It's confirmed to run at 30 FPS on the base PlayStation. First-person mode is not included in the game. For people that don't know, Red Dead Redemption 2 does have first-person mode, and they also included it in GTA's Xbox One and PlayStation 4 versions in 2014. Honestly, I never really used first-person mode, so it doesn't really bother me. Logan, what do you think? Because, like, did you play any of those games in first-person?
Always played them in third. I think I might have goofed around with first-person, like, once. So it doesn't bother me at all.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't bother me. It might be a patch later on down the line, but honestly, it's fine. It's fine. But man, like, just everything, even the open world city, the amount of detail in that world, the amount of activities you could do, I was just really surprised with how much you could do. And they didn't even show off everything. So, like, there's surfing rumored to be in the game. Actually, you know what? I've got social media open right now. I'll have a look online to see what stuff's came out, because GTA, the official account, has been releasing official stuff. Okay, yeah, you really don't. Let's see. People are finding Lucia's design distracting. Okay, but we'll not read that.
Yeah, people are really down bad for the protagonists, I've noticed. It's been quite comical.
Yeah, okay, here's some interesting information. So you can swap between characters on the fly, like you could in the other one. Swapping between weapons on the fly is as much like Red Dead Redemption. You can only store weapons in your cars, so much like how the horse works in in Red Dead Redemption 2. There's no pause menu, so I don't know how that's going to work. You put a mask on before your crime. Yeah, it seems the same as before. But, man, okay, so these are some of the mini-games. Not all of them, but some. Pool, mini-golf, kayaking, going to the zoo, scuba diving, parachuting, and studying animals. Let's see. Okay, you can... Okay, so these are some of the crimes you can do just out in the wild by yourself. So, not predetermined missions, just you do what you want to do when you do it. So, you can boost and sell cars, which you could do online, but you couldn't do really in the single-player mode. Not really. You could hold up businesses. So, in GTA 5, you could only do that with, we would call them news agents. You guys call them 24/7s. Oh, well, not 24/7s, 7-Elevens. Next up, you can rob different stores, such as the clothes stores and stuff. Bank heists, you can do at your will. Thank God. Because I hated that about 5, how they marketed the game as, oh, you can do all these bank heists the way you want to. It's like, no. There's 5 bank heists in the game, and they're predetermined. Let's see what else. Okay, so if you shoot someone in the arm while they're holding the weapon, they'll actually drop the weapon and you can pick it up. If you shoot someone in the leg, they actually react that way. Wow. Man, this game's going to be good, man. Okay, a crime... By the way, this in some GTA games, this wasn't the case. A crime only counts if someone sees it and reports it. Thank God.
No witnesses.
Yeah, I'm gonna have so much fun with that. But oh yeah, so if you rob a store or a bank, the police will actually gather outside, whereas in 4 and 5 they would just walk into the building, right, willy nilly because the AI was terrible. But yeah, this game is sounding amazing. Let's see. Okay, so stealing cars' value would change depending on what's happened. How much is it worth? If it's locked or alarmed, if it has a tracker inside, and it also depends what's in the car. So whoever, like, let's say if someone left in like a laptop or a phone or something, it will change the value of the car. That's crazy. Let's see. It's gonna have dynamic weather, which I think we all knew anyway. But man, they cooks. Yeah. Actually, you know what? Between now and Tuesday, Logan, I want you to watch that the Netflix thing. Just watch it in chunks if you have to, but I want you to watch it because, like, as a gamer, seeing like a big open world city like that, I'm so giddy. Because like we don't get these games often. I was a huge fan of GT. Like, remember when GTA 3 first came out? It blew people's mind holes, right? To the point where we never saw a 3D city like that before. And then, GTA Vice City came out a year later, and it was set in the 80s and had its amazing soundtrack. It basically borrowed a ton of things from Miami Vice, which was great. And then you had, San Andreas, that was 2 years later, and it was like 3 different cities, huge open world, more vehicles, more weapons, more everything to do. Tons of integrated systems. But like, I bet if you watch this gameplay, you will want to buy it at launch.
Well, I'll watch the trailer between now and next week and let you know.
Good. And by the way, I have no intention of spending a penny on this game. That's what Microsoft Rewards is for. like it is a bit shoddy that they've locked in-game businesses behind the $100 version. To that, I think that is scummy, and that is something people should bring up. I think that if you're going to do a $100 version of the game, include some post-launch expansion, maybe some cool skins, but like actual businesses where your game is about crime, like, come on, that's a bit weird. But yeah, and by the way, between now and Tuesday, I will actually do. I'll get every bit of detail I can find online about Grand Theft Auto, and we'll talk about it again. But Grand Theft Auto 6, it's almost here. 2 months away. We're almost there. We're almost there at the finish line. And watch, that'll come out at midnight, and the apocalypse will happen or something. But hey, I'm happy with what I saw. Anyway, now boom. I was gonna say boom. Logan, let's see what we've got. My God, we still have a bunch of topics left. We'll try and keep it brief. So, Xbox disc to digital has been popping off because you made a note of this last night, and Asher Sharma posted a tweet announcing disc to digital, how they're going to have thousands of games available where you put a disc into your console, you claim the digital license, you're going to be able to play this on your Xbox, your mobile, your PC, all because you own that license, fundamentally making these games play anywhere. And you get to keep the disc, put it on your shelf, and if you decide to sell your game, give it to a friend, and they put it in their console, they get the digital license and it moved away from you. I'm perfectly fine with that, obviously. But she posted that, and you made note that she had like 170 something thousand likes on this post, and it has to be her most viewed post. And people are really down with this disc to digital thing. What do you think?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's actually like gone up even more now. Like it is at 205,000
Wow.
likes, 31,000 retweets, 7.4 thousand comments, 19,000 bookmarks, and 26.6 million views.
Wow.
It's by far her biggest tweet and one of the biggest tweets in gaming in a very long time. People are very, very about this. Xbox, like we've talked about with the McDonald's thing, with this, with IKEA, they're Sony screwed around and they might just find out. Like, the door has been opened, and Xbox is, with this new energy and new leadership and new mindset, they're they're going for it right now, and they're trying to reclaim the mind share and the casual and the normal, and like trying to just get everybody back into Xbox as the central focus zeitgeist of gaming, like it was back in the 360 era. When you talked about gaming, you talked about Xbox and Nintendo, and then Sony was there too. But it was just but it was the central focus, and like even if IKEA gamer chairs or stools aren't for everybody,
Yeah.
the fact that it's at a mainstream place like that so many people see all the time, that it's available for those who want them, it gets more attention. McDonald's, everybody knows what McDonald's is. Most people have had a McDonald's once
Yeah.
or twice in their life, at least. It's and then the way that they've just been going about all this, and then this preservation thing. If you didn't think people cared about old games or cared about their media, and they were just huffing and puffing and blowing smoke and weren't about that life, this shows a lot of effort and a lot of clear desire for this kind of thing. And yes, there are some finer points about it to where it's like, I hope they can find a way to do something to not leave OG Xbox and 360
Yeah.
physical copies behind, whether it's including a external disk drive for Helix or some other kind of jerry-rig thing where you get an entitlement of some sort for those games somehow. But for the most part, it's an incredible positive. I'm super excited, very happy, and I think this bodes well for backwards compatibility stuff. They're clearly putting a ton of effort into all this preservation. This is all around a good thing, and anybody trying to spin it as nonsense is being, a mental gymnastic ballerina about this, and they need to just get over it. It's good news.
Yeah. Excuse me. I did see people. I won't mention names, but I did see people make a big deal about it, saying, "Oh, this is Xbox trying to make you go all digital." It's like, but you need your disc. like, like,
They give you a choice to
yeah,
be able to prepare for what may or may not happen. PlayStation just said get bleeped,
yeah,
it's a big difference.
yeah. And do you know what I like? And Gaz pointed this out on Twitter last night. Who posts some of the most hilarious AI memes I've ever seen? But like Asher Sharma announced this during the PlayStation blackout. Ballsy. I like it because
Yeah, I don't think previous would have done
no,
that.
no. Like Phil's a nice guy. He wouldn't have announced this during a PlayStation blackout. No chance. But
That was a
Asher,
jugular shot. I like it.
yeah, I like that. And you know what? It is a hot topic at the minute. People talking about the physical situation, and one of the things that was brought up in an interview is that she said that she was asked, like, will there be a disk drive next generation? She said we're looking at ways to, like, give people options. She didn't say no. Now I do like that because obviously, so don't know this. Jez Corden from Windows Central posted last night that apparently disk drive manufacturers are running out of components. It just seems to be like a thing hardware wise worldwide at the minute. But like if they can sort out a way to have a disk drive, even as an optional one next gen, everyone will be happy, right? Because like if you have a game that sells at, let's say, 10 million copies, right? Even if you have 10% of people that buy into discs, and from what I've seen online, a lot of people still buy discs. That's still a million players, right? That's a million players that are willing to go out and get your console and start investing into the ecosystem. And they have the best ecosystem. You have 4 generations already on one box. You're going to have all these free upgrades. Xbox gives away free stuff all the time. Hell, we got Gears of War Reloaded for free if you owned it digitally. So like to me, and oh yeah, by the way, I got Gears of War Reloaded for free, even though I have it on disc. Explain that one. Yeah, like I think a lot of people got that as well. But like the fact that they want to give people options, especially in a time where people are asking for them, that's just great to see. I know again people might think I'm like bashing Phil Spencer. He did a great job with the backwards compatibility, getting Japanese titles over, saving Xbox in 2013. But I've said it before and I'll say it again. With Asher, we see him proactive change. Everything from logos to changing the brand, like the Xbox green's back, right? The black and white thing, I get what they were doing. I really do. But to me, you have to have a color that's connected to your console, and it's green. Keep it green. So to me, like, this is great news. And, Positron was rumored for a long time, but the fact that it was announced during the blackout, that's a huge thing, right? It shows that they wanted to compete in a space that really needs competition. The fact that, by the way, I don't know if you saw this, Logan. Apparently, Sony's blacklisting people that talk about it.
That would certainly fit their MO.
Yeah.
Say that.
And look, I'm not going to get blacklisted, but I probably will get blacklisted by Sony, but I don't care. But like, the fact that you can't even criticize their ecosystem or their business decisions, that's crazy. Again, back to Square Enix. How many times have I called Square Enix names on this channel? Right? Endless. On Twitter, endless. And they even invited me to their headquarters. Right? You can accept criticism and go along with it. But by the way, I really wish I went to Square Enix headquarters. I just couldn't because of work, but my God. But still, PlayStation has a foothold on an entire generation of gamers. They have the gunball gamers, and they have a lot of journalists, let's be honest. And like, you're not allowed to say a peep about them in a bad way? That's ridiculous, man. And then when this blackout thing started, PlayStation started emailing people saying like, oh, by the way, when you buy a game from us, it's a license, not a purchase. Like, we all know that anyway. We all know that, these games are just licenses at the end of the day. But the fact that they did that when the blackout started, man, like, look, this is an Xbox podcast. I try to keep it about Xbox all the time. But, like, my God, like, disrespecting your consumers like that, the ones that put you in the position where you are, it's kind of sickening, They get away with anything, It's crazy if you think about it. But, man... But anyway, Xbox doing the disc-to-digital thing, that's great. Now, yeah, I've seen multiple people bring this up. Can they do it for 360 and OG games? So basically, Xbox One and Series games, their discs are produced with unique identifiers. So, like, back in 2013, where this was actually going to be a thing. You put a disc into your console, you get the license, you play it, but back then it was like a 24-hour check-in. And that's how it worked. So all the discs were, like, planned with that. That's why PlayStation, they can't do a disc to digital thing because their discs aren't made the same way. 360 games and OG games don't have unique identification markers. But if they could somehow work something out, I bet they can do it, right? I bet there's some sort of tracker they could do on the DVDs. I don't care how. I wouldn't
put it past Jason and the team. They're quite brilliant at what they do.
Yeah, I mean, they got multi-disc backwards compatibility working. They somehow put the Blu-ray cutscenes from Final Fantasy 13 into the 360 version. So, like, I wouldn't write them off just yet. But the fact that they're working on it, the fact they have a game preservation team, the fact that we do believe more backwards compatible games are coming, I 1 billion% think that. And that isn't hopium or copium. I legitimately believe that. Xbox, they actually do not. They're actually doing a lot of good things with game preservation, and yeah, it's great to see. Now, let's see what we've got next. Okay, Elder Scrolls, right? This has been a hot topic again for a long time. Asher Sharma was asked today at Gamescom if the Elder Scrolls 6 is going to be exclusive. Now, oh, by the way, Logan, have you noticed that whenever these people ask Asher Sharma or anyone from Xbox these questions about multi-platform games. Have you noticed they only ask about PlayStation? They never ask about Switch.
Yeah, funny story
Yeah,
on that. And it's because, at the end of the day, they know who butters their bread. They
yeah,
know where their skin lies on console, and they want to know what affects them at the end of the day. And hey, I get it. And another thing, like, that kind of annoys me greatly is they won't just accept an answer, they always press.
yeah,
And like, I get it. Like, sometimes there are some questions that are tough questions, yada yada, that need to be asked, whatever. But if you get a pretty clear verbal, nonverbal, like, look, buddy, I'm just not talking about this right now, then you should, take the hint, pal. Like, don't keep pressing. Like, they're kinder and nicer than to tell them to piss off,
yeah,
which is what most people, a common person, would do if somebody was pulling that. But, like, ask your question and then just go with it. Don't try to pull this gotcha stuff, because that is just, it's unbecoming. I would put it that way.
yeah. It's silly, man. Because like, do you know in the past couple of months, PlayStation have basically announced that they going back to full-on exclusives, and none of these journalists have batted an eye. But Xbox announced 2 games to be exclusive, and every interview is asked with it's just these questions: will this game be exclusive? You know, never ask about Nintendo Switch 2, by the way, but ask if the exclusive. It's ridiculous. And I'm going to put this out there: Elder Scrolls 6 should be exclusive. That's the conversation. It should be. If they're going to leverage IP and exclusives, they need to have one of the biggest IPs in the world tied to their platform. There's not many IPs out there bigger than Elder Scrolls. Very few games or events these days. You have Grand Theft Auto, you have Elder Scrolls, you have Fallout. I'd say Zelda games are events, and I'd say that Pokemon games to an extent are, but they come out a lot. But like, those games are events, and if you tie Elder Scrolls 6 to your platform exclusive, yeah, people are gonna buy into it, and they need to start building up an IP, not an IP, but an exclusive catalog again, right? Because every title for the past 2 years has been multi-platform, outside of Forza Horizon 6. So like, I bet Asher Sharma knows the answer already. And obviously, they talk about how the business needs to be sustainable, but like, they have said that multi-platform games will be in the live service space, and I think that's perfectly fine. If you put out a brand new multiplayer game, yeah, multi-platform, sure, why not? Those games are expensive to run, and if they catch on, they'll pump a lot of money into the business. But like, tying single player games to your business should be the priority. You have the ball gun games that are already on PlayStation, right? Targeting games at them will not work. So multi-platform your live service games will be fine. But if you tie your core games, your core IP, your Halos, your Gears, your Skyrims, your Fallouts, the upcoming StarCraft shooters, right? If you tie them to your platform, you are going to attract the hardcore base to your platform. Because again, the Bungal gamers are gone, right? They play in their shooty, bang, bang ball games on, a PlayStation. And that's fine. They're not going to move. In fact, they're probably not going to move to next gen, because those gamers aren't the type of people that spend $1,000 on a brand new console. Then again, that will be niche next gen. But I personally think it will be exclusive. And I have heard this one a lot. Elder Scrolls 6 deserves to be multi-platform. I'm sorry, but that is the more... I'm trying not to swear. That is the dumbest answer I've ever heard, because then you're saying other games don't deserve to be elsewhere. Does Wolverine not deserve to be multi-platform? No one's asking that. But we're asking about Elder Scrolls. And I have seen other people say, but, Elder Scrolls is a multi-platform franchise. Well, Morrowind was exclusive to Xbox. Wasn't Oblivion on Xbox 360 for a year before PlayStation?
Yeah, and the DLCs for expansions for Skyrim were
Yeah.
360 exclusive for a while.
Yeah. So, like, I don't want to hear this like, oh, the other games are multi-platform nonsense. It's just not. Um, and the funny thing is, people are always talking about Xbox, right? Um, the truth is, people want their games. They just don't want to buy into the platform. But if you have IP and games that are as legendary as Elder Scrolls, as most wanted as Elder Scrolls, people will go to your platform. Now, granted, the cost of these consoles at the minute are pretty high across the board, but that's out of their hands. They need to attract people to their box regardless. So they do have the best ecosystem, but they also need games, and you don't get much bigger than Elder Scrolls. Logan, I've been rambling. What's your take? Do you think Elder Scrolls 6 should be exclusive, but do you think it will be?
I think it 100% should be. Will it? Um, I'm 75-25
Yeah.
on I think it will be. Like, because of the legacy argument of, well, it has been all these places before, but we just, discussed the caveat of, 360 and timed this and this and whatever in Morrowind.
Yeah.
And the fact that it is such a large franchise and was a third party publisher for a long time until they were acquired, like, okay, I'll wiggle room for that to 25%. But, like, to me, I think the rationale behind making it exclusive outweighs that because, look, you got to go big or go home.
Yeah.
We're in the end game now. We got our, one scenario we're going for. And you've got one of the biggest, baddest, dragons in town with the Elder Scrolls, and you can make this boy exclusive and keep it and go, look, you want Elder Scrolls? You come to Xbox. If not, too bad, so sad. You can get on PC if you want. And I think that will piss a lot of people off, but I also think it will get a lot of people to come to the platform that were on the fence or were thinking about it to begin with. Will it be a total conversion? No. Because Sony's got some people, under such a mental lock that they'll never switch ever, which, it is what it is. Like, that's brand loyalty for you. But I think that it could be and should be the beginning of will want. I know there's the infamous Phil Spencer quote. Again, we're not bashing the man. He did a lot of good for the platform. But this quote, the Starfield quote, like even if Starfield's an 11 out of 10, it won't get people to switch. By itself, that might be true. But if you have a bunch of games lined up after another that are maybe not 11 out of 10, but good, high quality, high bar games, a bunch of them, and they're exclusive to your platform, eventually you can mentally train even these journalists and these gunball gamers that you have to go to this platform if you want to experience these, or be like one of these master PC race people and do that. But either way, they get their money and they laugh at you either way. So just, you know, accept it and do it. Go for the jugular shot. You have a chance. You've got your moment. You're in the Death Star run. Trust the Force, hit the button. 1 in a million, let's go. Just do it.
Yeah, one of the reasons why, and I haven't seen other people bring this up, but one of the reasons why I do think the Elder Scrolls 6, by the way, when I say this, I guarantee someone within the next 2 hours will mention it on Twitter without giving me any credit. But I do think that it will be exclusive, and one of the reasons why I do think that is because it looks like Microsoft is leveraging Battle.net. So The Witcher 3 is coming to Battle.net. I also think Cyberpunk is coming to Battle.net. And I saw a few other games that are getting marketed to also come to Battle.net because there's a lot of people that use that store because of World of Warcraft. And how many World of Warcraft players is that? It's like 15 million or something. So I think this next generation, I think Microsoft, they're gonna start leveraging BattleNet and maybe merge the Xbox PC store into that. So that way you're gonna have Play Anywhere. You're gonna have Play Anywhere tied to BattleNet on PC as well. And they also have the third party games like the Tomb Raiders and all that stuff. So I think that's what they're gonna do. Because you're gonna have 20 plus million people that will have BattleNet installed that can play the Elder Scrolls 6. Boom. That's just a theory. What do you think, Logan?
I think that's a good theory.
Because
And it makes a lot of sense, merging BattleNet with Microsoft PC Store.
yeah,
You have one of the best PC stores out there and interfaces. Why not capitalize it being the main focus?
yeah, and if you tie Xbox achievements to BattleNet, my God, you could even put Xbox achievements in World of Warcraft. So like I personally think that's what they're doing. And Elder Scrolls 6, like imagine you log into BattleNet one day to play World of Warcraft, and you see Elder Scrolls 6 just sitting there, right? I'm sorry, but there'll be millions of people that will want to play that game. But yeah, if I see one more person online just say it deserves to be multi-platform, I'm going to lose my marbles. Not that I haven't lost them already, but yeah, I just thought I'd bring that up. But yeah, Logan, do you want to talk about anything? I can't speak. Do you want to talk about anything else before we close out the show?
No, I think we covered the spectrum.
Yeah. Anyway, everyone in chat's been amazing. Once again, we did have the show on a Thursday as opposed to a Tuesday. We should be back normal time next Tuesday, where I'll have the whole list of every GTA detail known to man. Now, I should be dropping 2 videos between now and Tuesday if my plan works. Some big videos I've been working on for a while. If you like upcoming games and maybe games that have already came out, I've got you covered. The support is greatly appreciated. These videos take a long time to make. The link to my last one is in the description down below, where a few games are still coming out, and that is the top 10 biggest new games coming to Xbox in August. It's a back every month, and there's still games coming out. Anyway, we'll see you next week. Again, Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern on the Elusive Gamer YouTube channel. Hope everyone has a great day. We out, everybody. Peace.